What is going on, everybody? It is episode 470 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett. I am here with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hi, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. We have a very special guest on the show today. Given that it's Friday the 13th, we're going to talk about some scary stuff.
I forgot about that. It is Friday the 13th. Holy crap.
I know. Yeah. So we have Tony Merkel on the show today. Tell us a little bit about what you do.
I started out hosting a podcast called The Confessionals, where we interview people on their paranormal experiences, and that blew up into merkel.media, where now we're shooting documentaries and movies and all that stuff.
And you've already met Brett in the past.
Yes.
So it was about, I think it was about, 2 years ago now?
About that,
It was about 2 years ago. So right when I was launching PCC, the early, we were still doing the test episodes. We were getting everything figured out about what the show was going to look like. At that time, Shane Cashman was doing Tales from the Inverted World. And after the end of the first book series, what he did was he was interviewing people to, as bonus content for Tales from the Inverted World. And I was doing the button pushing for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a great conversation. I know it didn't go the direction that he thought it would, because I know he had notes. And then I think he said a keyword like Nephilim. And I was like, boop, we're gone. And so I remember when we were recording that, I think you had to come upstairs and hey, or somebody came upstairs and they're like, hey, you guys gotta, that freaked me out. Yeah. But
you'll get used to it.
Yeah, that's what they say. But he said, somebody came up and said, you guys gotta kill the show because you're being too loud. They're about to start IRL downstairs. And I was just like, oh, that was probably my fault.
Was that oh God, did it go that long?
It went long.
It was probably 6 to 8.
They said that they could hear us through the vents or something.
Yeah, because we've
was it up here?
Yeah, it was up here.
Okay.
It was right. I was right here. You were on this side, and Shane was over where you're sitting right now. And the funny thing about that is then I've said several times, because there have been times we've gotten done doing movie reviews where I want to go do the movie reviews right away, but they're doing IRL and I'm like, oh, I can probably, or even if I go up and I want to do it by myself, it's something that you were I watched on my own. I come up here and immediately I start talking and I realize that when you do the show, you enunciate much louder than when you talk. I'm not going to talk like this while doing a movie review. I could maybe do the movie review
is PCC
if I'm
after hours.
Welcome. How would you guys like to hear my thoughts on this movie I just saw? But as soon as I start talking loudly, I can literally I look around there's somebody down in the vents. Though apparently one time, okay, so they were doing IRL, but what people don't know is when we do the crisis meter, which by the way, guys, all super chats $20 and over will go right down there to the crisis meter. All super chats go down there to the crisis meter, which sets off the crisis count. When I have to reset it at the end of the day, because you have to reset it, we move everything on an Excel spreadsheet. It replays the very, very loud sound effect, and it went off during IRL once, and I'm like, oh God. I was the other end of this room, so it's I ran over here, but it didn't matter by the time I got to it.
The drywall starts falling down on their heads.
Basically, yeah. Speaking of which,
did you go hide then?
Yeah. I waited.
Oh, you needed to make sure the sound was going to go
double checking to make sure that the sound is up for the first crisis party. But yeah, I was actually what it was is I faced my fears. I went down afterwards and I'm like, yeah, sorry about that. And he goes, I didn't hear anything. I'm like, what?
Oh, okay.
I was like, yeah, so you're telling me we were too loud during that one and they didn't hear that?
Well, I think we hear more of them.
Yeah.
To be fair though, I mean, you get me going and stuff. Sometimes I get pretty loud.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that. Guys, we got a bunch of stuff that we're going to get into today. We're going to talk with you about everything going on with you and your work. We're also going to talk about a list of 700 celebrities have signed an open letter condemning the acts of Hamas in support of Israel. So we're going to get into that. We're going to show the Ryan Long video. Copyright be damned. I don't think we're going to get copyrighted, but it's a unique situation in Hollywood where usually your virtue signaling narratives are very, very simple and straightforward. It is simply not that right now in that industry. So we're going to watch that video. We're going to look over this letter. We're also going to talk about this disturbing clip that Mary found of an AI. It's a show.
There was a Disney movie recently that put a whole row of AI deepfaked actors in the background, thinking no one would notice, and they're super obvious and extremely scary looking.
Well, I noticed. They're
their own cryptids.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about AI and media, I think, in general. Sure. Anyways, also, there's a story. If you remember, it was probably about a year ago now. Denise Richards very famously played Dr. Christmas Jones in The World Is Not Enough, the most unrealistic-looking nuclear physicist you've ever seen in a movie. She's married to Charlie Sheen. She announced a year ago
that they're divorced now.
Yes, I said she was. said was married to Charlie Sheen? Not anymore.
I don't know.
Her daughter signed up for OnlyFans, and people were like, maybe that's not a good idea. Even Charlie Sheen was like, maybe that's not a good idea. Then Denise
She was
Richards
like,
signed
F
up.
you, Dad.
Yeah.
You don't tell me what to do.
I'm my own person. Then her mom signed up for OnlyFans as well. Now she's talking about doing a collaboration with her own daughter, to which the entire internet said, I have the ick. So,
If you weren't already asking for the meteor,
yes,
you will now.
Exactly. So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. I got some announcements for new projects that are coming out of Hollywood. If you guys are ready, we'll get right into it. But before we do, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed to us already? We just passed 72,000. We are on our way to 75,000. So please go ahead and subscribe if you have not. Also remember to hit the notification bell so that you can be notified anytime one of these live streams goes live. And remember, all Super Chats, $20 and over. Like I said, we will interrupt the discussion. We will read those Super Chats right then and there. Perhaps they have questions about the paranormal or about cryptids or something like that they might want to ask you.
Or, guys, if you have any experiences with the paranormal or with cryptids or whatever you saw or think you saw, then send in Super Chats about it.
Yep. So we got that. We got a bunch of other stuff. So now, if you are ready, Mary, we'll get right into it. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Let's do this.
Let's go.
All right. First things first, I got an announcement that nobody actually wants to happen, but they're apparently going to try and make it happen. So Suits, the television show from 2011 to 2019, fell out of first place. It's this weird story where this show went off the air in 2019, and it's been #1 on streaming for like 12 weeks now. It's kind of like a weird aberration. Like nobody can really figure out why this. It was a good show, but to just randomly suddenly top the charts again doesn't really make any sense. Well, Hollywood's going to do what they're going to do when something like this happens. They're like, let's make another version of it. Let's do another show in that universe.
What is the thought process? This old show is successful, so let's just make another show
like it with characters from
that's
the same
like
universe.
it, but the shitty version of it.
And the funny thing is that they're mentioning like it could be like a prequel to like Rachel Zane's dad's character, which wouldn't work because first of all, I don't think that Meghan Markle's coming back, and she's older, not younger. So
I
unless
thought there
they're
were rumors she's getting ready to reboot her acting career.
that could happen, but I don't think she's going to want to go back to that well. I think she'd want to go do other stuff. But also, they're like it could be a prequel with the guy who played her dad, which is Wendell Pierce, who's a really, really good actor. If you've seen The Wire, you know that he's a really, really good actor. But he can't play a younger version of himself if it's a prequel. So you're going to have to get some younger actor.
De-aging technology exists.
Well,
That's true.
They don't get the money for that for like a television show. Also, the other reason it's annoying is because they talk about how this show ran on the USA Network, which, as you guys know, I believe is it's the unsung hero of all of television. The USA Network from 2008 to 2015 was peak television, but they don't really do scripted shows anymore. So it's going to end up on some other network, and it's just not going to be any fun. Like, is there like do you watch any of like the paranormal shows? I bet you have to at least watch some of them.
I browse them.
You browse.
I browse them.
You did like? Is that one of those things where like you don't want to watch them because like you don't want it to influence how you do your work?
Yeah, definitely.
Like-
That's definitely part of it. And also, when you do so much paranormal for your job,
You're just
it's like I used to drive tractor trailer, and it's like, hey, do you want to do that on your Saturday? No.
I mean, that's what it's like my YouTube viewing has gone to like 0 because of what I do for work. Like there's certain things where like once we've talked about a subject, if I'm like I'll go look up certain creators' takes on it, but I don't want to look at it beforehand because I don't want it to influence how I feel about something, right? Because then you don't know whether what you're sharing is your opinion or opinion of somebody else's. But at the end of the day, I'm like, oh my God, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to listen to people talk about it.
I think that's like something that you and I can speak to each other, but people viewing, they're like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, you know what I mean? That they're watching what we create because they love it. And they're like, wait, you don't want all you can get of that? And it's like, well, when you have all you can get of something for an extended period of time, it's like going to a buffet. I mean, eventually you got to tap out.
And like actively creating it and consuming it is different.
Very different. Very
different. At least to me it is. Like mine will peak back up on the weekends a little bit.
Yeah.
But in general, it's just like I want to be away from the
Yeah,
YouTube.
like people get to like view the final product of stuff that we create, right? I mean, whether it's live on YouTube or movies, they see the final product, but it takes months of work in between that you're grinding and stuff. And by the time you have the final product, you're like, ugh, here it is. Hopefully you like it because I'm already doing something else. I'm tired of this one, you know? So it's just, that's the way it goes around.
In the chat, Griffin Street Studio says, Brett, it's your fault. You sung the praises of Suits, and I've been watching it, feeding into the algorithm. Yes, I'm actually a secret agent that was sent on behalf of Aaron Korsh and the producers of Suits to try and influence the public to then go and watch this show from
They're doing the
2011.
same with The Office. They're making a female-led Office spin-off.
Are
and
you
then
serious?
They're also doing another
That's
reboot
Australian.
series.
The female-led one is like an Australian version of it.
But they're doing another reboot series of it too, right?
Yes.
And then they're also making like 12 Walking Dead reboot, spin-off, prequel, whatever the fuck's things.
How do you feel about zombies?
So awesome, but
Like zombie yet?
but like Walking Dead, I never watched the whole series because eventually it just
Yes.
became like the same thing. You know, people are gonna get slaughtered, lots of blood, lots of
People
guts.
cry. I mean, it stopped being lots of blood, lots of guts. It started being about like drama more than action,
Really?
which a lot of people didn't
Yeah.
like. And then there was a lot of woke messaging and
Course.
diversity stuff. Like, sorry, I don't believe that a 300-pound woman in a hijab is alive 5 years into the zombie apocalypse. No.
Yeah, it's weird. I was never a big Walking Dead fan.
It's been out of steam since season 5.
Yeah.
You know, I think that people that were big fans of that show though probably have parts of that show imagery in their heads right now as the world is the way it is. They're like, when things go down, I'm building that compound, the wall. If you come and we don't accept you, you don't walk away. You know, this is like all this like end of the world scenarios are going through their head, and then all it is like Walking Dead.
And dystopian television has been big for a long time.
Yeah.
There's a really good show that I like that only got 2 seasons called Revolution. And also Jericho, starring Skeet Ulrich, were both really, really good. Jericho, I think, was from like 2006. It was a long time ago. But all of them is the same thing. It's like they can get these small towns that they can film in, and it makes for good on-location shooting for a lot of it. It's good stuff. Also, guys, if you remember yesterday, we did talk about Dylan Mulvaney, who won Woman of the Year from Virgin Atlantic, from Woman of the Year, sponsored by Virgin Atlantic for a magazine, right?
Also sponsored by Jaguar.
Yes. They're now, Virgin Atlantic is facing a boycott over Dylan Mulvaney winning the award. It is kind of interesting. Somebody should make like a meme. It's like Dylan Mulvaney, and it's like a boycott follows him around.
So you're saying Virgin Atlantic is actually a record label?
As far as I know, Virgin Atlantic is a record
But people
label.
are confusing it with Virgin Airlines, right? Some tweets are saying, I know you couldn't care less at Virgin Atlantic, but I'll never fly with you again.
No, it is. It is a.
Oh, okay.
So it's different than. So it is a airline.
Okay.
But yeah, people are never going to fly them again. So you know what that means? You just got to go over to Spirit Airlines.
They never learn their lesson
No, they don't.
from Bud Light, from Target, from any of these boycotts.
Yeah.
You should just go over to Spirit Airlines. It can't get any worse anyways.
I don't know. It kind of, to me, in conspiratorial mind, I guess, but it just tells me that it seems like there's something more here than just money. Like these companies are, they're not stupid, and they're willing to lay down a percentage of their profits for a woke message. So there's an underlying factor here that's pushing this whole thing. That I think like Public Square and things like that, you know, pushing in that direction and boycotting and creating the alternate ways to shop are all good. But when we're trying to hit them in their pocketbook and they've already accepted at the beginning that they're going to get hit there and they're okay with it, there's something else we got to figure out how to hit them with.
I wonder if it's part of it is like they think that messaging will last longer than the boycott, right? That they're going to. I mean, Target toughed it out. It's Target. It's a gazillion-dollar corporation. They're not going to. You can hurt them a little bit.
They don't have enough competition.
Yeah. Walmart is like.
Yeah.
Walmart can't really do anything about it. Like and to be fair, I went to Target of my own volition recently again.
Shame.
Yeah. Well, and like I'm pretty anti-boycott.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those. I don't really.
You boycott boycotts.
I boycott. I'm
The
not
counter
really,
boycott of the boycott.
If it's something, if it's something that's creating the superior product, like I understand that's not the popular position in these circles, that you think you should try to hit them where their wallet is. I'm like, well, my wallet needs to go to Target because I need to go to Target to get whatever.
Socks.
Yeah. Like,
Thankfully,
exactly.
Bud Light is not the premium product.
Yeah,
right?
and I'm not drinking Bud Light anyways, so that's not a problem. But I get it. So because some people get very upset when you because they want everybody to take that very, very serious hardline approach to a lot of this stuff. And I get that. Like, they're very entrenched in what people call the culture war, and they want to hit them where it hurts. And there have been some great imagery of Bud Light, like where it's like every beer is gone but Bud Light. But Dylan Mulvaney's gonna keep causing things like this to happen unless Dylan Mulvaney chooses to change the messaging with all of the stuff that he does.
And why would he?
And because it's too profitable to change.
What if Dylan Mulvaney detransitioned?
Wins Man of the Year the same year, like next year.
What kind of
That'd be amazing.
Media firestorm would that create?
If he won Man of the Year the next year, it would be like that.
There's no Man of the Year.
There will be for him. They're going to invent that.
He'll win sexiest man alive.
That's the thing. So and then every year he goes back and forth and just switches off.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't hurt these companies.
Hey, when this whole thing is your career, do what you got to do to keep it alive, I guess.
Yeah, that's essentially the way it is. Also, guys, I made a tweet yesterday about Halloween. So you said you're not a huge horror movie fan.
No, they scare me.
Yeah, which is interesting given your work.
Yeah.
For the horror fans, the part that scares them is why they like it.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Halloween, the TV rights for Halloween land at Miramax, and they're saying that it's possible that this could be turned into a cinematic universe.
They're going to develop a series based on the Halloween franchise.
Look, I don't want some episode where Michael Myers is on a couch complaining to his therapist. I'm picturing he's laying on the couch. The knife is across his chest.
I just don't know how to come to terms with the fact that I'm bisexual.
No, it's he's no matter how fast they run, I always catch them even though I'm walking and it doesn't make any sense. And the therapist is he's are you sure? Are you sure that you're not running? And
Are you not trying your hardest?
Yeah, is there a little bit of apathy going on? I don't want to see that. It's going to be boring. So what I said was, not everything needs to be a cinematic universe, and horror will always be more effective as a film rather than a television show. The cast will be huge, the gore and the kills will be outdone by filler. Some characters are more effective without a long, convoluted backstory. To my point, I don't need to know every detail of why Michael Myers feels inadequate. Or is mad at people. I just want to watch him, kill people in creative ways. That's the whole point.
Wouldn't the TV series focus on the victims?
Yes, unfortunately. And I don't want to care about them either. I don't. There's a reason why there's a great, the memes, all the ones that have been made of the change my mind memes. Yeah. There's one where it's all of it's Ghostface, it's Michael Myers, it's Jason Voorhees, it's Freddy, and they're all sitting around tables like that and says those teenagers deserved it. Change my mind. Because of the trope that, if you're going to go have premarital sex, it's very likely that a serial killer is going to pop out of nowhere and murder you.
1 + 1 = 2.
Exactly. It was how we
Facts don't care about your feelings.
Exactly. It's how we got kids to stop from, doing things they shouldn't be doing. Right?
Do you think that ever worked on people?
Probably.
In a subconscious level?
I don't know. Apparently, because I'm from Minnesota, apparently there is a Camp Crystal Lake in Minnesota that has a giant Jason Voorhees statue at the bottom of the lake. I kind of want to go.
You mean inside the lake?
Yeah.
And you can go...
It's at the bottom of a part of the lake.
Okay.
Yeah. It's tied down.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome?
That's funny.
It's awesome.
All right, let me ask you this. So I know what you did last summer, that movie.
Love it.
Okay, is that a horror movie? Is that considered horror?
Slasher is horror adjacent.
Still technically.
It's technically a horror movie, but I love that genre of horror movies too. Because that's what I grew up with, Scream.
Yeah.
I Know What You Did Last Summer. I love those.
I watched that in 7th grade. Yeah. And I watched it at my friend's house because I wasn't allowed to watch those things. Yeah. And I lived out in the country in Pennsylvania, and I had to walk through the cornfields to get home. And usually I would sleep over at his house, and I had to go home that night. And I was faced with the decision of going through the cornfield at 1 o'clock in the morning, and that's the shortcut, or take the long way, which is the road, but you have to go with the woods through the road through the woods to get to the main road to then go down. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And I wound up going the short way. I figured at least I can get home faster.
Yeah, in that movie.
And at the end, you're just running.
I think I'm sitting here and this is therapy because I'm thinking maybe that's where I started getting scared of this stuff.
There's a $20 one here from Jake Beebe. Says, hello all. Hope all is well. Watching 6 a.m. Australian time. Wow. I've been watching you guys every day since finding you last month. Keep killing it. Thank you, Jake.
Thank you for the dedication.
Hey, mate.
That's is there any 6 a.m. I'm trying to think if there's anything that I guess because I used to work a job that I would be at work at that time, so there would be stuff that I would watch at that time, but never anything that I caught live. Oh, that's not true. I might have watched some of Jesse Lee Peterson early in the morning. So, you know, it is what it is. But yeah, no, I loved that movie because it's got the typo negative the song Summer Breeze in the intro to that movie. And I've loved that song ever since I saw that. And that movie takes place in North Carolina.
Where
the
North
movie?
Carolina?
I think it's supposed to be Raleigh, but
oh really?
Or no, it's like a small town in North Carolina.
Yeah,
but yeah. It's I love that
Well,
movie.
Raleigh used to be a small town.
Jennifer Love Hewitt and Sarah Michelle Gellar back in the day. Good stuff. All right, this is right up your alley because apparently there is a Bigfoot sighting. Where was this, you said?
Colorado.
Yeah. Let's watch this clip. So even TMZ commented on it. How did you, when you see stuff like this, when you see TMZ comments on it, you're like posers?
Next.
Yeah, right?
So you haven't seen this yet?
I have.
Yeah.
You have? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Let's watch this.
Let's play it again.
It's an elusive
This could just
creature.
be a guy in a ghillie suit, couldn't it?
I'll share my thoughts on it when we're done. Yeah.
All right, just squat it down.
They're in like a
Let
caravan,
me
I
see your
guess.
camera. I'll do it.
Are those sound effects or are those the people's voices? That's going to be the people's voices, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love how even in this day and age, anytime like a cryptid shows up, the camera quality goes to 144p.
Yeah.
Goes to 144p.
No matter how good the iPhone cameras get.
No, what it is. It's like every image of Bigfoot looks like it's a galaxy. It's like a Samsung sending a picture to an iPhone. Every time somebody takes a picture of Bigfoot, I'm sending you a picture with my galaxy. That's what's going on right now.
I think that was an ad. That's going to be coming out as an ad for Suave or something like that. That hair was majestic.
Yeah.
And I would not be surprised if all of a sudden, like a month from now, is just all part of an ad campaign for a new type of shampoo or something like that. Because that
But
hair.
likely a movie or a TV
Maybe.
show.
Yeah.
There'd be crew around them if it was a movie or a TV show.
Well, the crew was on the train.
They're filming it with the good cameras, not the phones.
They had a red. They're just filming it. It's like, oh yeah, perfect.
Do you remember when there used to be Mary, you might be too young to remember this. There used to be like ads for like beef jerky with Sasquatch. You remember those?
Yeah.
Those were great.
I was trying to get them to be a sponsor for my show. No! They wouldn't return my call. You know,
that's too bad. Do they still run ads? Like, what was that? Which company was it? Lynx?
It was Jack Lynx.
Jack Lynx, right?
Yeah.
So like, do they still run those ads?
I'm not sure if they still run those ads and stuff, but they ever came knocking and be like, "No, you rejected me years ago. I am not accepting your money now."
No, man, you got to bite the bullet.
I would actually. I would totally.
It's like Vince McMahon. Like people will like say the meanest stuff about Vince McMahon, but if he can make money off you later, he will bring you back.
For sure.
Doesn't matter. You got to keep the door open if Jack Lynx comes back for you.
Yeah, I would totally accept that. So yeah, but
so what makes this less believable, other than just the costume?
Well, no, actually, first of all, the believe it. So what makes it less believable is the fact that it is actually one of the more clear videos that we have of Bigfoot. So, but here's the thing. One, when you zoom in and stuff, it really does look like it could be a costume with somebody having boots on the bottom.
Yeah.
And on top of that, so what I'm telling people, because they're asking me my opinions and how could this be fake because they're on a train, they're going by, how do you plan something like that? The person that, if this is a suit, they literally would have to be somebody that's just bored on a Saturday and they're just like, what am I going to do today? I'm going to go out in the hill in this costume that I have and I'm just going to wait to hear the train coming. When I hear the train coming, I'm going to get up, I'm going to start walking across the hill and I'm going to squat down. And that's literally what we see here.
Is anyone that bored?
I know, honestly, like I generally would say no, but this is the one time where it's not that you're bored and you just are taking a chance that somebody's going to come walking through the woods. Yeah. This is one of those times where it's like you're going to know it's coming and you can have it all planned because you're going to hear the train coming.
Yeah.
And so I really think that this very well could be that kind of scenario.
Have you ever seen the meme where it says like it's like when I found out my neighbor had a trail cam and he puts on his Bigfoot suit and goes and like poses in front of this guy's trail cam so that he can freak them out?
Yeah.
I love that shit.
I mean, and all of my heart wants to say this is real because I want to believe, but I don't.
So merkel.media has a movie coming out next year called The Sasquologist. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah. Sasquologist.
So this is going to be like a narrative film, not a documentary, right?
Yeah.
Can you tell us much about it?
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. So my head of film and streaming development at merkel.media, is the website, is Joseph Granda, and he has over 30 years experience in Hollywood. He's been on Broadway. He really knows the industry, and he wrote this whole movie. He made him the main character, so it's done by a great actor. He was in Ace Ventura, so like he's been around the block and stuff, you know. And he wrote this, and it's a very narrative driven, where it's basically he plays a biologist and he's on the trail of Bigfoot. And if you remember the movie, the classic film, 1967 Patterson Gimlin film with that Bigfoot walking across Bluff Creek. Well, the story is that the offspring of that Bigfoot moved east to the Colorado Rockies. And that's where this movie is based out of. And he's a biologist on the trail of these things, trying to track them down. And he comes across this kid who's like the exact opposite of him. He's science and everything, and the kid's what we call woo-woo. He's like, you know, Bigfoot's an interdimensional being. Yeah. And he's like, get lost, kid. And then over time, they basically come together on this hunt. And as they're hunting for this creature, it's very story driven, where it becomes like they're both hurt people and they both have this past, and you see how they come together throughout the movie. And you know, it's not your typical Bigfoot. Most Bigfoot movies are like, oh my God, he lost his other leg to Bigfoot. Oh, there goes his arm. Like it's sort of blood and guts and stuff. This is very narrative driven, story driven, and there's some parts that are hilarious. It's funny. It's a comical movie. And there's other parts that kind of pull at your heartstrings. And I don't know if that's accurate to say or not, but I know that I became a dad for the first time 5 years ago, and ever since then it's been downhill for my emotions, and like things make me cry. Like I might start crying during this broadcast just because, you know. So,
fair warning.
So there's been times during that thing I was watching the rough cut because it's not complete yet, but I was like, man, if that has some music, I might cry to that. So
how long is it going to be?
About an hour and a half.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's like the perfect length for a movie.
Yeah,
to me that's the perfect length for a movie. Like what is the Bigfoot like? Can you give an example where you think was the most like real, like seems like the most accurate representation where that could have been like an actual encounter?
An actual encounter? Yeah. Well, I'm gonna say the 1967 footage. Okay. And I say that because Bob Gimlin's still alive, and I've had the opportunity to spend time with him and talk with him, and I'm 100% convinced that Bob, if that was a fake footage, Bob had nothing to do with it. Yeah. And to this day, he's in his 90s and he believes it's real. 1967,
like, I don't know if you guys know, but technology has improved and gotten much more handheld and like user-friendly. Yeah. Faking footage in 1967 would have been a chore.
So, and here's the problem with that is that they were out there to make a movie. And so that's where, you know, the bunkers come out and they're like, you know, they were out there. That's why they had a camera. Like, it wasn't like they had a phone in their pocket.
Exactly.
You know?
It's a different time.
Yeah. And so, and I think even they were, I think they might have even been out there to do a Bigfoot film, right? So Call Me Gullible, right? Were? Yeah, I think so. But I don't remember exactly. But I know they were out there to do a film. And it's just one of those things where over time, there's been so much analyzation on it. In fact, it's the second most viewed video outside the JFK assassination.
Wow.
And yeah, it's huge. And we're actually, I don't know if I can say that yet, so I'm going to pause on that because I have to talk to the brass first. But I'll just say we're considering. No, we're not doing it. Actually, keep going.
Hold off.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off because I might get in trouble. So yeah, I mean, it was one of those things where you're out there in the environment, you're there to shoot a movie and stuff, if that's the case. But I don't know. There's been a lot of people who've enhanced the footage and, you know, did all the behind the scenes work and trying to pull out the image more and stuff. And the more you pull out, the more it seems more conceivable. And given that it was shot in that time, there's been a lot of people over the years that back then were in, you know, Disney making costumes, and they're like, we couldn't make something like this back then. And so there's a lot of things like that come out where you're just like, well, if you have a professional saying I couldn't do this, then where do you go with it as a guy who's a former truck driver now turned podcaster? Like, you know, okay, I take your word for it.
It's funny. And just recently, after watching it, I go, whenever October rolls around, I start a general rewatch of the X-Files, which I love. I love the X-Files, especially those early seasons. And one of the episodes they consider to be a serious clunker from those early seasons was called Jersey Devil, which is essentially, you know, what if Sasquatch was in, you know, off the turnpike in New Jersey on the way to Atlantic City. Yeah. And I love it. I love that, even though like it's so funny because like with a lot of movies and television, I tend to find, especially with TV, I love the episodes that other people don't like
Yeah.
a lot of times. And I was rewatching that recently, and it's just really funny how those stories, like even in the that's how enduring those stories are, because that episode came out in 1993, and even then they would have like, it didn't look super accurate when you're watching it on camera back then. That's what I love about it.
I'll tell you, you asked that question, and I have one that comes to my head of footage that isn't really well known. A lot of people don't know much about it, and I call it the Carbondale White Bigfoot.
Okay.
And there's a town, Carbondale, Pennsylvania. It might be the county, might be one or the other. But back in, I think, 2008, there was this footage that came out. A guy, the story behind it, we don't know who posted this video to this day. Like, whoever posted this video wasn't looking for our attention, because we don't know. I've tried finding this person, and I used to live in Pennsylvania. I'm like, I'll go to the person. I don't care. But the story is that there was a creature on the property, and he goes out in the woods trying to film this thing. And you hear him breathing heavy, and then he shoots the camera up, and you see this white Bigfoot, which is a legendary thing that from East Ohio across northern Pennsylvania, there's this legend throughout decades of people seeing this white upright walking creature. And he catches it on video, and you actually see it squint, the lips pinched together when it dodges the light, because he shines a light on it, and it just runs off. It's like that's one of the ones that I've personally looked at a lot, maybe because I was originally from Pennsylvania. But the facial movement, I was like, man, because people were like, oh, that's somebody in a hood. I'm like, but the face moved. Like, I don't understand how the face moved.
Well, if Bigfoot is a real creature,
it is, but okay.
Okay, yes. Can you describe what the creature is?
So we're getting
classify it?
We're getting murky here, because there's a lot of people with a lot of opinions. So there's
Murky, not Merkel.
Yeah. So there's the camp, which has been the camp for a long time, which it's an upright walking creature we can't keep up with. People will use the idea of like the silverback gorilla, how like we didn't know it was actually a real creature till like the early 1900s, and it's like we take that for granted, but apparently they're like, that's a myth. So there's people that it's like a physical creature we can't keep up with. There's a limited population, but there is a population. That's how they reproduce. And then there's the opposite end of the perspective, which is they're interdimensional beings coming through portals somewhere. Okay. And then there's like,
where's Alex Jones?
If you want, right here. Yeah. So if you want to say a middle road, or maybe the third option, which is a government created being, which is interesting because there are stories like, I just moved to East Tennessee, and when I moved down there, I started talking to local farmers. Homesteading's huge there, and I'm starting to become a farmer. And so I'm down there, I'm talking to a local farmer, and he tells me that when he was a kid growing up, the old timers would tell him about how when they were building Oak Ridge, which is known as the secret city, it's where they developed the bomb for World War II. Like, nobody knew that was happening. The locals, they had no idea the government was building a facility there when it was happening. But at that time, the local farmers were saying they all started seeing this upright walking white creature running around the area. And so people will talk about, is the government creating these things to protect high ranking facilities, you know? We
got a $50 super chat here from Mountain Goat. Says the flexion of the foot and the muscle movement in Patty's leg makes me believe it's 100% real. We go to Sasquatch Fest in Longview.
Squatch Fest.
Did I say Squatch Fest? In Washington every year, and go to see Dr. Meldrum's breakdown, which was amazing. Hope you like my puppy picture, Brett. My puppy pictures, Brett. I do have. Speaking of which, let's go on and let's do cute and cringe of the day. What would you guys like to see? Cute first or cringe first?
Believe it or not, the Bigfoot video was not our cute of the day.
That was not our cute of the day. What would you like to see? Cute or cringe?
Cringe.
Cringe first? All right. Mary sent this one earlier.
This is bad.
This one's bad. Let's watch this video, folks. It's let's listen to what this poor Starbucks employee had to listen to.
Actually like to pay for the person behind me. Today is National Day of Remembrance for homicide victims, and my husband was brutally killed. So I just wanted to give some love today, and I hope that, you know, if anybody that you lost, and I feel like there is somebody, she's watching you. She's watching you all the time, and she loves you. So this is for the people behind me. I know. I actually record these things. Can you say hi to people? This is Trinity. We need more kindness. Actually.
And I'm glad I wasn't the only person who thought this was
To me, it's the recording of it.
Yes.
That, like
yes.
that
Recording
could
yourself
very,
doing that is weird. Recording the employee is weirder.
like the idea, like that those, because I used to work for like a gas station, so people will absolutely do that. This is a real thing where people will
They'll just
absolutely
trauma dump.
Crisis
Thank
party.
you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Wow. In the chat, Dustin the Wind says, "In the arms of," I'm not going to sing it, but "in the arms of the angel." Yeah,
Yeah.
far away from here. So people would do that, right?
Yeah.
They would actually like, because a lot of times, like, there's stores in the UK where they put like lines where old people can go through the line because it's designed for people to just be able to talk to the cashier. Because
Wait,
some people,
seriously?
yeah,
Wow.
that's a thing, right? So people will absolutely do that. There's just something about that relationship between you and, as a customer and another person. They feel safe talking to you about that stuff. Maybe because you can't say no.
You can't get away.
But like, and it never bothered me.
Yeah.
But like the idea of filming it and putting it over music is weird.
Like
to
you
me.
paid for someone's pumpkin spice latte.
That's like a monetized account that someone, you know?
Yeah, no, and I don't understand it. I mean, I'm 38, 23rd of this month, and so I call myself an elder millennial, you know. So I'm like on
That's
the
me
tail
and
end.
you. I'm 37. Yeah.
So I don't understand it, and I'm in content creation industry, but I still feel self-conscious doing anything in public like that.
Oh, yeah.
I saw just flying here, me and my brother sitting in the airport, and there's this girl that's getting ready to go on our plane, and she's sitting in her seat, and she holds the phone up real high, and she takes this selfie, and I'm like, I thought that was like just something that happened in movies. That really happens? And I looked at him and he's like, oh yeah, they do it all the time. I'm like, bro, like I would feel so weird doing that.
I think it's because me and you are dudes that maybe that's like a little bit different. But
Yeah.
but like no, so this is the thing, right? So one of the things that I do that I've been skating for 25 years, and it used to be you had to have people film. You and your friends went out and filmed videos and made sections and stuff like that. Now you can just, a lot of people do it because they don't have if you're older and you're just skating for an hour before work, you don't have time to go out with your friends. A lot of people, like, we would just film on your phone on a tripod, and I would always, like, the second somebody would walk by, it would make me super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Even though it's not like what I'm doing is not lame or anything like that. It's just that like the idea that somebody's watching you record yourself, super weird.
I tried putting it in practice though. So I sat there and I judged her really well. And then I was like, okay, so I'm doing something wrong. And so I said, hey man, we should do a selfie. And so like I did it like halfway so everybody knows the better angle is up high. And I was like, I can't do that. I just can't. I'm not there yet. So I kind of held it out low to the side.
Dude, guys, for some reason, man, they can't come above the chest when they're figuring out how to take
I was
their
scared,
photos.
man. I'm scared.
Go check
Everybody's gonna know what I'm doing.
Go check a dating app. Any 40-year-old dude who's newly single, that phone is just there. He's just like,
Hi, I'm Bill.
Yeah.
This is me. All of me.
my favorite is the one where it's like, why don't you smile in your photos? And it's like, what do I have to smile about? But you know, like it's uncomfortable, right? In those situations. But the idea that, there's the one video of the lady who's like dealing with the trauma of my breakup, and she's going like this on her bed. And then like the people were dunking on her, where it's like, my boyfriend just broke up with me, and a guy goes and grabs a tripod, puts the phone on the tripod, goes and sits on the bed, and then does the thing where he goes, and he takes a
Starts
second
having
and
an
pauses
emotional
before,
breakdown.
because it's not even just that.
Yeah.
Then when it's done, that girl had to then edit it. She's like, drag the end, drag the beginning. Like, no, we got to get rid of that there because I'm walking over to the bed.
Yeah.
You're turning all of your emotional existence into a product, into a production that you're selling to people.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, this
The fall of human society is upon us.
Yeah, and at the same time, I see this stuff, and I'm just like, you know what? The first thing I thought of, I just picture some like guy who works in the pharmaceutical industry sniffing money because of the SSRIs that he's selling to her. That's what I think of when I see stuff like that. So the kids are not all right, even if they're not kids. The adults are not all right either.
And the kids working at Starbucks are not all right.
It's not fair to them. It's like that poor kid's like, ma'am, this is a Starbucks.
It's literally the ma'am, this is a Wendy's meme.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we've also got cute of the day, so now we can palate cleanse here.
Yeah.
We'll do. What was the name of who is it? That was. I don't know if Mountain Goat's name is the same on Twitter, but I'm gonna just do the first few that I got here. This one is from Levi. Says. Lil Bitch Puddin', aka Little Puddin' Pie, aka Horse Choker. Okay, I made that last one up. She's a sweet baby, and I kindly submit her for pet of the day. As you can see her, she's in.
I almost missed her.
Yep, right there. Looks like she's about to pounce. Very cute. Very cute. Let's do 2 more here. This one is from Facts Over Field. Ben Shapiro? Wow. Okay. Milo, Roland, and Jade chilling and listening to PCC. When they hear the beginning music, it's time to lay down and chill. See? The beginning music matters to all the people who tell us that they don't like it.
I like the idea that you named your dog after Milo Yiannopoulos.
He's like, do we have to watch this
again?
Yeah, and she's like, oh, I don't know if I like what Mary just said right there. That's pretty controversial.
Spicy take.
Yeah, it was a spicy take from Mary. That one too. See, and it's you back there. They're like, wow, Mary, that was a spicy take. Whatever you just said was very, very
no, they're
spicy.
Like, you're telling me Dylan Mulvaney just won Woman of the Year?
Doesn't even look like a woman. Are you kidding me? All right, guys, I'm gonna hold off on the rest and we will come back. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk about you. Okay?
Yeah.
Let's talk about you because, like I said before, me and you met about 2 years ago, and you had just started making a go of full-time full-time work in the media world.
Yeah.
Right?
It was a wild transition period of mine because I had people in my life telling me you should do this full-time for at least a year and a half before I did it. And it took my son literally crying on a Monday morning saying, Daddy doesn't want to spend time with me because all I did was drive truck for 12, 14 hours a day and then work. Because you guys know this takes a lot of work. Yeah. So I would stay up until like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning and then go to bed, get up at 6, go to work, drive truck. And that was my life. And so I didn't even realize it until that day he started crying saying that I don't want to spend time at 3 years old. He just turned 3. I was like, I got to quit one or the other. I ain't quitting podcasting. So I just went full time, and I was very scared when I remember coming down here. So I was like, I hope everything that I'm doing is in the right ship because like I put all my chips on the table, you know?
Yeah. But that's a very scary thing to do, to make that initial choice right then and there, because there's safety, and like we're very blessed here to like to be able to do this for work where it's steady and it's secure.
Yeah.
That's very, very different from basically making a very large bet on yourself.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
How much work, like how many projects have you put out since then?
Film projects,
and like between that, the podcast and everything like that.
All right, so this is how it all started for me. I'm podcasting with just my show, and then I had this wild idea in my truck one day that I love audio production, which now I've handed off to my brother. We talked about that earlier, and I decided I was going to start producing other people's podcasts. And that was what merkel.media was supposed to be, just me. I wasn't going to do just anybody. I was looking for people who had followings that didn't have podcasts. And I was like, that's where I come in. I know how to build a podcast. And so I reached out to a guy named Charlie Robinson from Macroaggressions. He has a podcast now through merkel.media. And he was an author. He had a book called The Octopus of Global Control. And I was like, dude, you were on my show. And you said that when I interviewed you, you sold a lot of books. You have a big following online. People are always interviewing you. Why don't you start your own podcast? And we worked out the deal. And that was the thing. I had several other podcasts on there. My dad's podcast, Hammer Lane Legends, all this stuff. And that was the goal, just podcasting. And then I went full time. And around that time, I did an interview. It was episode 420 of the Confessionals, and Joseph Granda, my head of film and streaming development, was my guest. And he started telling me these stories from Hollywood and these wild experiences. Like he went to this seance where like this person had ectoplasm coming out of their body, and it was crazy. And it's
in
like,
Hollywood.
Oh yeah, these are like the A-list celebrity types. Like he said, the reason why he was dating her is because she was hot and she like Oscar winner or something like that. And like
come to a seance with me.
Yeah. He's like, this is very common, and it is. And so like, so we interview him and stuff, and it was a great show. And then him and I start talking, and he's like, dude, you need to start doing these films more serious. Because I had come out with Expedition Dogman, which I thought was gonna be like a YouTube vlog, and I didn't realize the caliber of talent that I had brought with me on this journey. And I put it on YouTube, and like in the first month and a half, I had 200,000 hits. And I told him, and he's like, you got to take that off YouTube now and let me help you because you're doing this all wrong. Yeah. And that's where merkel.media went into films. It was amazing.
So now you're producing them and they're being sold digitally?
Yeah. So Expedition Dogman is now available worldwide on all the platforms, Apple, Amazon, Tubi, all those. But
it's on Tubi?
Yeah, it's on Tubi.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And what we're doing though, because I spent, I'm going on almost 7 years now podcasting, I built a sizable audience. These films are not cheap to make. There's a big investment, and so to recoup the investment, it's not for us at least feasible to just give it to Amazon, who takes like 50%, and then of that 50% we give 20% to our distributor. Like, we're trying to make the money back at least, right? So what we're doing is we do these digital releases where it's a live premiere, and people get to buy tickets and they watch live for the first time in the world. So it's like a world premiere. And then we take, and like we did that with The Shape of Shadows, the second film we came out with, and we made back our investment on that night. And so what we're doing now for the second stage of this release is we're releasing through merkel.media on demand. So people who want to watch the film go through merkel.media. Once the sales kind of drop off from that, that means that we pretty much extended our reach with me on my show and also appearing on other people's shows to do promotion. And that's when we're going to let Amazon and Apple and Tubi do the promotion for us. But
similar
they're the third
to
stage.
what they do, like if you release a movie in the theaters and then it goes to pay VOD and then eventually it makes it to streaming.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm trying, there's nothing new in this industry. And that's what I'm learning, that, I mean, everybody copies each other. So I'm just trying to copy the format that's been laid out before me with my own twist on it.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just the way it is. I mean, if I come up with a cool creative idea that nobody ever thought of before, I'd be surprised. Very
There's
surprised.
a $20 one here from C2 Gaming, says, sup y'all, work week done, so as often have to have a chunk of it. Oh, so he's saying have a chunk of it. Hope it was a good one for y'all. Thanks for the entertainment. Shout out to the Discord, and also shout out to whatever shine you're using, Tony.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, you know, I started losing my hair in my mid-20s, actually my early 20s. People at work were saying, your hair's thinning. I'm like, no, it's not. You know, I was in denial.
That's the first unexplained mystery that you investigated. Which brings me to my question. How did you get interested in your current sphere of focus, like investigating cryptids and mysterious things like that, esoterica?
So I was always interested in like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster kid growing up. I just, me and my friends, we were poor trailer trash kids and out in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania. And we just had nothing to do but imagine things. So we're like, one day we're going to go hunt the Loch Ness Monster and, you know, we're going to find it and prove the world it exists. And as I got older, that kind of fell by the wayside. But it was, I got married when I was 21. By the time I was 25, I was kind of pretty bored with my life. I was a truck driver and I was just like, is this all life has for me? And
like, I got a lot of time left. Like theoretically, I got like 75 years left at the outset. Holy crap.
It's depressing. And that's, I could go on about that. I try to inspire people to live their life to the fullest. But I was watching a TV show called Monster Quest, and it really kind of rejuvenated that childhood interest of mine. And, you know, it was all about talking and breaking down these creatures that people see. And I found finding Bigfoot. And I remember the one day I was just like, I'm really captivated by this stuff again. So I started being active in online blogs and forums and stuff, and just kind of talking about it. And then I found the world of podcasting. I didn't know what a podcast was.
When was this?
This was 2014, 2015. And I remember I was leaving for work, and I was watching Monster Quest in the morning before I left for work. And I was like, I wonder if like there's some kind of like Bigfoot radio or something. And I did like a Google search, and this show called Sasquatch Chronicles popped up. Yeah. And I just started listening to that. And I didn't know that you could actually listen to it on your phone. Yeah. Like through the app on the Apple phone. So I was going to his website and hitting play on all the episodes individually, and I was like trying to remember where I left off, scrolling through all these pages and stuff.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
that's a huge market, right? Like all of those podcasts do really, really big numbers.
Yeah.
That's crazy. What is so you've got a bunch of new projects coming out. What is the biggest, like, out of all your podcast episodes? What is like the biggest episode you've done, and which episode is the one that was that surprised you at how well it did?
Oh, the surprise would be. You know, all right, let me start with this. The biggest one, the most legendary, would be episode 122. I called it Secret Military Enochian Technology.
There you go. People can go check that one out. Yeah. After this podcast, you can go check that out. Not now, later.
Not now. Stop. Stay here. Stay here. Yeah. You have all the time in the world.
What was that one?
So I had this guy. He reached out to me initially and got scared, got cold feet, and decided not to do it. And then he came back later.
Wait, why did he get cold feet?
Because he was scared to talk about what he was going to talk about.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. And so, those are, you know, it's going to be good when that happens. But he came back to me and he's like, okay, I'll come and I'll talk about it. And so basically, it was basically a 3-hour show. So I'm going to summarize it for you. He was in the military and he got put on a special team. He was a tech guy. So his job was technology. He wasn't like, you know, super sniper guy. And he gets called out on this mission, which he's been on missions with these scientists before and stuff, but they would do different things. This was the craziest one. they went to an undisclosed location. He's never told me the location. I still talk to him to this day. And him and the team of scientists and other soldiers went by boat. They made land and they went on, I think it was like a day or two trek into a forest of some kind. I don't know if it's a jungle or what, but their mission was to retrieve information off a downed aircraft and then destroy the aircraft with thermite. Well, when they finally get to this aircraft, he's like, this was nothing that I've ever seen before. And he describes it. It was a UFO. And so they go, they go inside this UFO and he's looking at this computer board and I guess he had devices to plug in to retrieve the information, but he's looking at it and the language on it he doesn't recognize. Okay, so it's somebody else's, right? So he's looking through his manual trying to find the language, and a scientist comes over to him and he's like, "You're not going to find that in your book." And he kind of looked at him sideways, like, "Whatever, man." And he keeps going. The scientist doubles down, slams his hand on the book, and he's like, "I'm telling you, you're not going to find it in there." He's like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, he said, "That's a Nokian language." And he's like, "What's that?" He's like, "It's a demon language. Get your stuff together. We're getting out of here." And so they got their stuff. They got out. They destroyed the craft. They took the trek back to the craft, which had a lot of weird things happening. When he got on the boat, they get back and they get called into a meeting shortly after that. And the person who's running the meeting said that they're going out into this forest that he just got back from to look for a crew of guys that they sent out and never came back. And through this conversation, it became apparent to him that he was going out to look for himself. And it was like this weird time shift that he experienced. And he experienced like literally frozen time at times where he was the only one in the room that didn't seem like a mannequin. And it was just real trippy stuff. It was like, and this is where the interdimensional aspect of things come into play here. Okay. And we're starting to see a lot of like this kind of conversation come up with like these whistleblowers like David Grush and stuff. He's hinting, and I don't know if he knows or if he's scared to say it or if he doesn't quite understand like I do, you know, but
what year was this that he was talking about?
Charlie, the guy from my show.
On the mission.
I think it was probably like the mid 2000s. I think it was. Okay. He's around my age. After this experience happened for him, he actually once he got out of the military, he left the country. He lives in another country now. He said it scared him so bad he had to leave. And so he's still working in intelligence, but in another country. I think I'm going to prefer a private company. He's a very handy person because I can say, "Hey, Charlie, I need you to look up this person," and he'll come back with a whole report on what I need. And so I'll tell you a funny story real quick. There was this lady that I was trying to find for an interview, and she was like a ghost online. And I said to him, "Can you find her for me?" And he said, "I'll do my best." And he comes back and he's like, "Listen, she's a complete ghost online, but I did find her home address." I'm like, "Bro, how am I supposed to tell her I want her as a guest on my podcast, but how do
Send a handwritten note.
Yeah, I'm like, how do I explain I found you? Because like, you know, it's like I needed an email, bro. That's more natural. I found it on a forum, not your home address.
You could write her a letter. You could write her a letter and then have to explain how the hell you got her address.
Exactly.
And then she'll ask and you'll be like, "Look, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it."
Yeah.
Oh, okay. What is the hardest story for you to believe? Because we've talked, we've kind of gone back and forth about the stuff you believe in, and you seem to have like strong beliefs for most of it that you believe.
Are you a skeptic?
I used to be more skeptical than I am. And people can say gullible, which I'm fine with, but I just believe that everybody has their own thresholds of belief, and I've been exposed abnormally to really bizarre things.
Because you're putting yourself in a position
I put myself right in that line of fire. And so after I hear really bizarre things and I start connecting puzzle pieces together that I've heard this person over here say, and all of a sudden they're saying this and they don't know each other, I'm like, okay, things are getting really weird. And so all of a sudden I go from, I think reality is strange, but we'll see, to now I'm like, it's really getting weird, and I got to be careful because this hole goes deep, you know?
So what is like out of all the things that you've covered, what's the hardest story for you to believe that is actually, or even if it's something that you haven't necessarily done a ton of research on, but you've heard about it and just on the offset, you're more skeptical?
Flat Earth. Yeah.
Yes!
What about Hollow Earth?
No, I'm down for the Hollow Earth.
Okay.
And the Earth is hollow. So like the Mammoth Cave systems, like I think there's a logical thing there. Like Kentucky and Tennessee are really the richest states with caves. And then there's the Mammoth Cave system, which I believe actually extends from Kentucky to New York. It's a huge cave system. I just had a guy on my show in August who has a cave in Kentucky that he's been exploring since he's a kid. And when you walk into this cave, the ceiling is 30 feet high. Like, and it goes down. He's explored about a mile and a half into it, and he hasn't explored all the offshoots. It's absolutely huge. So to say hollow Earth, absolutely. Like the Earth is hollow. You go down in these caves, and the deeper you go, think the scarier it gets.
Yeah.
Underwater lakes and all that stuff. Now, when you say Hollow Earth, you're probably thinking like, the sun and the earth. And
I love
this whole
the donut.
atmosphere.
I love the Donut Earth. Have you seen Donut Earth? The pictures
no.
of Donut Earth. You got to look at the pictures of Donut Earth.
It's real.
Yeah,
It's got to be real.
It's like so the Earth's a donut.
So
and
you're
the-
not convinced of flat Earth.
No, I'm not. I enjoyed the conversation, but I never had the conversation on my show because it's so toxic. So like, it is like everybody gets so grumpy on both sides. I remember when because I never
because it's been
Contingents like
weirdly-
that for any esoteric belief, though. Like I'm
this
sure
is
there are a lot of
different.
people.
This is different. Like
It's been weirdly politicized.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, you know what it is? It's because it's been it's become like hand in hand, part and parcel with like conspiracy theory, which is now weirdly connected to politics.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, you like Donald Trump? You probably think the Earth is flat too.
and then there's like half the Trump supporters are like, yep.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Okay, then Antarctica. Like, what's going on? Like, edge of the planet.
You know what? There's a guy downstairs named Wesley who has a lot to say about Antarctica.
Yeah.
Wish he were here right now.
Yeah, wish he would. Yeah.
Stupid dude had work to do. What's up with that?
And listen, the invite was there, right? I saw you
asked
invite
him,
him.
yeah.
We
Yeah.
offered.
Yeah. And he's like, oh, I got work to do. I was like, bro, you're
No,
missing
he's
out.
just scared to expose the truth.
Yes.
I think he's scared to let you guys know how weird he is.
No,
you know?
I know how.
No, I
weird
mean I've had
Wesley
convos
is.
with him about the Nephilim and
Oh, yeah.
everything. Like
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
He's got
I'm
some
telling you,
out there
like-
beliefs.
Denver Airport, all those
But-
things, man.
Yeah.
Okay, you probably have a lot of people reach out to you with emails and DMs, submissions of all kinds
Yeah.
with things that they've seen or videos or pictures. Do you respond? How do you decide who to respond to?
Yeah.
Are some of them crackpots?
Oh, for sure.
How do you
Yeah.
respond to them?
So I gave that job a long time ago. My wife handles that. So
Oh, interesting.
I always, and I say this unapologetically because if this offends you, it's because you are that and you need to check yourself. My wife keeps the thirsty hose away. So that's just the way it is.
So there's the thirsty hose and the crazy schizos.
And sometimes they come in the same package.
Yeah.
And so like
Deadly.
We learned early on there's just like I wasn't even a big podcast, and it's just like just the fact that you had a podcast, they just put you in like this celebrity status and they want to be near you, and it's just like listen, I love my wife. I'm very happy. I don't want any drama. Hey, Linz, you want to take over my emails? You want to take over my DMs? Cool.
So there's like a
So
thirsty
she
hose
sifts
folder.
through like
Yeah.
stories that
Yeah.
might be interesting for you
Yeah,
to
and she knows
cover.
what I like and what I want and stuff, and so she knows me better than anybody. So
Okay.
she's the front line of defense there. But what was your original question about that though? The
Well, it was just, how do you respond and
Yeah,
how do you discern
so-
which ones are...
So like she runs things by me and stuff.
Yeah.
She knows some of them. She knows that that's not what I want. But if she's interested, she'll run it by me and I'll talk about it and stuff with her. But generally speaking, we'll talk about anything and everything. It's just
Except for flat Earth.
right. And I almost did a flat Earth show, but the problem is like when I first discovered flat Earth, I was driving my tractor trailer and I heard this one guy, Eric. Last name's driving me a blank, but it might get you demonetized, so I'll just leave it at that. But like. I was like, this is interesting. This is interesting. And I go home and I say something to my wife about it. And she goes, and she scoffed at me. And I was like, ooh, that's a reaction I didn't expect, And she's like, don't tell me you believe that. I was like, no, I just thought it was interesting. She's like, you're getting contentious. And I saw it throughout if I bring up flat Earth, it's either you're pro or very anti, and they clash. And I'm like, I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah.
I wonder why that is, why certain topics end up finding that line. Whereas like you could bring up cryptids or anything like
Yeah.
that, and maybe they'll they might not
They'll
scoff.
humor you,
They'll
at
humor
least.
you,
Yeah.
and they might not scoff, but maybe they will kind of roll their eyes at you. But something about flat Earth makes them like skip the eye rolling stage
Yeah.
and go straight to anger.
I think the only thing I can think of is that at some level inside it insults the people's intelligence almost. If you don't believe flat Earth and stuff, and you're talking to somebody who's trying to convince you of it, it's like I don't want to even engage in this conversation because I feel like you're insulting my intelligence. But and when you talk about Bigfoot or all this stuff, maybe you're in the maybe camp, or hey, that was a fun conversation. But when it comes to flat Earth, I think people there's something that triggers in their head that they're just like, you're calling me stupid by even trying to talk to me about this, which I don't understand because I just talk to everybody and have a good conversation.
What about the moon landing?
Wait, okay,
you want to go there?
This
Ethan?
got
We
brought-
can go there if you want. Yeah.
This got brought up on IRL last night.
It's been brought up before.
Apparently, Roseanne talked to Buzz Aldrin, I think,
Oh.
Yeah.
or one of the guys in the
Okay.
movie, and he said it didn't go.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, that don't.
So,
Okay.
I can't confirm this. This is secondhand information
Yeah.
that I think Blair White said. Yeah, Blair White said she did a podcast with Roseanne. They were both drunk, and she said that Roseanne's like, look, I talked to him, and we didn't go. You know.
So I had a guy recently. In fact, this episode is airing on Thursday for my members this coming week, and he was former DoD contractor, and he knows Buzz. He's spent time with him. He could call him, kind of thing, and he said things to me that were off air. It was interesting because I brought this guy in studio because he was recommended to me by a friend of mine. And it turns out the guy has a lot of amazing things to share, but none of it he was willing to share on my show. And so we kept it kind of general, because he was, it is what it is.
That's
But
gotta be hard too, because then you're like, there's all this great stuff.
I'm
there.
telling you, when we're done with this, I could tell you just some of the stuff he told me. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. You can't say this on the recording, bro. But no, so the moon landing, he told me that Buzz, he'll say anything anymore. He's just like older now, and he just says whatever he wants. And I said,
does he have family? That's what he's got to worry. That's what he's got to worry about. He's got to worry what the government's going to do to the family if he says something.
Well, I mean, he's already said so much stuff.
The other thing that they said was that all the astronauts or something, they had twins, and they actually died on the moon, and the twins just faked the landing.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Is that true?
I don't fucking know.
Come on,
I said was
you
like-
can't bring this up without facts, bro.
I don't know, man.
I just thought that the footage
Yeah.
was doctored and fake
Yeah.
because we needed to give American citizens that morale boost.
Who did they hire for that whole thing? I mean, Spielberg or something?
What was it, Ridley Scott? I don't know.
There's a whole set though but they say that they used it to practice on. But we actually have pictures that they've released that are identical that that was a set, and it's like maybe you're just trying to for marketing or whatever. But I talked to a guy named Bart Sibrel who has a wild story. Him and I kind of went our own ways after a while, but we talked for a while. He actually came out with a documentary in the early 2000s, supposedly exposing the fact that we never went to the moon. Now, I personally believe that we have gone to the moon, but I don't think we went the first time. I think that when we were in this weird race with Russia, and we had to up them, and so I think it was there was a whole production that was like, hey, we went to the moon, and then later went to the moon. But the only thing that's against that is the fact that they say that we lost the technology and we can't get back to the moon because we can't get through the Van Allen belt. If you're telling me that in 2023, we can't get through the Van Allen belt and back to the moon because we lost the technology, but in the 60s we could, that seems weird.
Okay.
But there's a lot of weird things in this world. So.
I have a lot more questions that I would love to ask you, but we're burning through time right now. There's just one more thing. So you're very open about the fact that you're a Christian.
Very.
And I know that a lot of people make conspiracy theories and internet rabbit holes a bit of an idol. And I wanted to ask you how you navigate or how you keep a balance between your Christian faith and other things that you believe or things that you question about reality.
So Christ is king in my life, and that's just bottom line. I don't put anything before Christ ever. And I believe that as a Christian, the definition of being a Christian is Romans 10:9. You have to confess with your mouth that Jesus Christ is Lord and believe in your heart. And that's the foundation of my faith. From there, we can build. And when you start building out, you look at the Bible, which Christians say they believe. If you look at the Old Testament, this is a supernatural book. There are really weird things in there that I'm like, okay, if that's real, if I'm a Christian, I'm saying that I believe what the Bible says, and that's in there, then when I look around me, I'm like, okay, maybe. There's something that's looked over a lot in the Old Testament. King David killed Goliath. That's a wild story in itself. But King David, as he's this mighty warrior, and it's really briefly mentioned in the Old Testament, but it talks about David's mighty men. And people are maybe familiar with the story of Samson. And in the story of Samson, he's this one really supernaturally strong guy. He killed 1,000 men with the jawbone of a donkey, all this crazy wild stuff. And this army that David's mighty men were like an army of that. Like think Marvel, you know, like an army of Marvel characters, to the point that like David was like pontificating that, oh, behind enemy lines there's a well and I would love to have that water. And like 3 of his super soldiers like, you got it, boss, and they just went and killed everybody and got the water. And it's like, he's like, bro, like I was just like thinking out loud, but why didn't you kill the army beforehand? You know, like it's just one of those things. So when I read the Old Testament, when I read the New Testament, you look at Jesus and doing all these miracles and stuff, and then it's just like, I believe that we are supernatural beings living in a supernatural existence, and we don't realize that. Like we live in this physical world and we think that everything's physical around us. But I look at like the fall of man, and you opened the bag, so just interject if you, but like sin entering the world, the punishment of that was physical. So women were going to physically start feeling childbirth. Men had to work to toil the fields. Everything was physical. And I think that there was some kind of shift where we were much more in tune with a spiritual existence, and we were divorced from that. And then from that point on, the whole Bible is a love story, bringing God bringing his people back into this spiritual existence with him. And so when you say, you know, how does this all line up with my personal faith? It really kind of goes hand in hand with what I was telling you earlier about perspective. So like, it depends on when you're talking about this stuff, what your perspective is going into it. And as a Christian, I have a very supernatural worldview because of what the Bible tells me has happened in past. And so when I see what's in the scripture, I'm just like, all right, you know, let's talk, you know, and it's been a wild ride. There's been times that like I've been really checked and trying to understand how things could be possible. But at the end of the day and stuff, my foundation is Christ, Romans 10:9, and that's where I build from. So if everything else that I'm like, oh, I think I got this together, and it kind of goes to the wayside, I always go back to my foundation. So that's how I view it.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, sorry.
just wanted to get your perspective. Yeah, because I'm sure there are a lot of Christians who believe that, you know, looking into these things is incompatible with the faith, but I think it definitely is compatible.
Oh, yeah, I think so, 100%.
Let's go to Super Chats.
Okay, we've got a lot here. DCNC said, Harry and the Hendersons, best Bigfoot documentary. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay. Documentary. That's funny. That was my favorite show growing up. Favorite show. It was great. Or movie.
Shane H. Wilder said, Brett's dulcet tones for PCC after hours requires a red crushed velvet smoking jacket and a pipe.
Well, yes it does.
Marcos
That's absolutely true.
Said, I saw the lips of a ghost on the wall back in the day. That's weird. Hiroshima Otaru said, Virgin owns the music label and the airline and more. Okay.
Oh, so it's like it's a huge conglomerate. How American?
Yes.
How modern day? Let's hold off on the rest. We'll come back after the fact. Let's move on. First of all, let's talk about what's going on with these celebrities, Mary.
700 celebrities and entertainment industry professionals have signed an open letter to condemn the Hamas attacks and support Israel. Some of them are people we've already talked about who've made statements, like Gal Gadot, Jamie Lee Curtis, Howie Mandel, Mark Hamill, and it says that they are writing this open letter condemning Hamas, calling for a return of hostages with organization Creative Community for Peace in support of Israel. It calls for the entertainment community to speak out forcefully against Hamas, to support Israel, and to refrain from sharing misinformation about the war, and do whatever is in their power to urge the terrorist organization to return innocent hostages to their families. Open letters don't do anything.
No, they don't.
So what is the point, is my first question. I mean, we already talked about an open letter that was about something less controversial, which was the book bans of sexually explicit LGBT books in school libraries. Yeah. That's something like someone like Ariana Grande can sign her name on, her manager can do it for her, that she'll be universally praised for it. But I mean, as far as I've seen so far, every celebrity that's made a statement in support of Israel is getting a lot of flack right now.
Yeah. Also, like, the idea that they're going to be able to, like, differentiate what the misinformation is hilarious, given that really in the digital age, it's all a house of cards anyway, and it really is propaganda coming from all sides at all times. And these are people that are not, like I said the other day, I don't go to celebrities for their takes on geopolitics. We talk about it here, but it really is more on you, the viewer. If you're going to Ariana Grande about her takes on gender politics, or if you're going to
Noah Schnapp of Stranger Things
for his opinion
geopolitical
on
takes,
what's going on with Israel and Palestine.
Yeah.
But it does raise a bunch of interesting questions about what it means to be a mainstream celebrity now, because for the last 7 years, it's been very easy to figure out what your opinion is supposed to be if you're part of the mainstream establishment, right? It's the media says we need to support this. Let's support this. This is one of those cases where they did not have such an easy path to figuring out what was the socially acceptable stance to take on something like this. And they can't really escape it because part of their brand has to be, I never miss a stance, as Ryan Long says. And
I'm always on the right side of history.
When you've spent the last 7 years demonizing half the country and being very vocal about like how you feel about people that disagree with you, that makes it a lot more precarious to have a stance on something. If you're more open-minded and willing to hear multiple perspectives and you don't demonize people for thinking differently than you, it's a lot less scary to share your opinions because you understand that the way you see the world will not necessarily always be the way that someone else does. But when you play opinions on geopolitics as a zero-sum game and you're in the public eye, that's not exactly an easy road to follow.
Their celebrity is their weapon, they think. They think I'm a celebrity, my opinion matters, and whatever I say goes. And they've been built up in a world where that generally is the case, where they're always on the right side because they're given the talking points of what to say, and that's what they say, and they're always right. And I think that they get to a point where it's just like, we can do no wrong. And so I can do whatever I want. And it's just like, when you talk out both sides of your mouth, we're normal people here. We see you. And it's just, it really, to me, it just makes me more feel like they're looking down at me from an ivory tower almost, and they're like, here's what I decree. It's like, I don't really care what you think,
But they're not used to that. They're used to people deferring to them.
The same people that are dunking on Noah Schnapp for talking about geopolitics when he's in his penthouse in LA are the ones that probably praised him and other celebrities for posting the black square. But they don't see the conflict there. They're very entrenched in cognitive dissonance.
There's a comment here from Aaron Howell who says, I'm not concerned with celebrities talking politics. They're walking billboards. They usually get paid to say that stuff. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
When your opinion is for sale and you carry large influence because you have followings in the millions or at least the hundreds of thousands, you sway public opinion very, very easily in your favor, and that each person you reach out to is an individual who at one point was a blank slate of information on that topic, who is no longer a blank slate.
And they target the kids so much for that reason.
That's why TikTok is so important.
It's so manipulable. And that's why when I moved to Tennessee and stuff, there were some things happening in Tennessee that I was not happy with because I moved from Philly for a reason. I wanted to be in a different environment. And so when I went and started talking to the city council about this stuff, I told them, I said, you've been comfortably conservative here for decades and nothing's ever changed. And now things are starting to change, and you have to understand they're targeting your children because they had the long game in mind. So they're going to say, let's go for the 10-year-old because in 10 years, that 10-year-old's going to be 20 years old and they're going to be making decisions in this world, making votes and stuff like that. They play the long game all the time. And that's just a key example here.
Now Nashville is taking all of Tennessee hostage.
I'm telling you, Nashville is crazy.
But big cities always do that, right?
Yes.
That's I'm from Minnesota where and remember, I still consider myself to be very much fairly liberal, but the center of Minnesota, the Twin Cities, Minneapolis and St. Paul are liberal cities. The outskirts are all just, they're generally, it's purple, if not, red on the outside, because that's where all the suburbs are, where the people who, work for a living, and there's a lot of country out that way. So it's a conservative outside, with a very, very kind of very focused liberal city, two cities right next to each other. And I think that's what's happening. And a lot of people said California's like that. There's plenty of red in California. It's just that the big cities are the ones where all the power is located.
Yeah, that's
right. And for things like this, I just I do caution people to to just dismiss what they say, because they are going to reach a lot of people. Like you said, the people that they reach are generally, if you're looking to follow a celebrity and because you like what they do rather than critically like we do for work, you know, if you're not looking into what they say, it's very easy. And a lot of these celebrities are getting caught. Justin Bieber posted a picture saying pray for Israel, and it was a picture of Palestinian land, and he had to delete the post. They're not news reporters. Actually, never mind. The news reporters are usually worse. So, you know, what do I know? But yeah, you can't look to them for this type of information, but people do. Yeah. Right?
J.K. Rowling also made a statement. Her tweet says, "We said never again. The UK was a safe haven. Now, after the biggest massacre of Jews since the Holocaust, British Jewish children are being advised to hide their identities as they walk to school for their own safety. There should be mass outrage that this is necessary." She's, of course, not going to outwardly recognize the reason why Jews might be in danger in the UK, mass immigration, but...
Didn't she get in trouble recently for something?
She's always in trouble.
She's been in trouble for like 5 years.
Yeah.
She's in a perpetual state of trouble.
And has enough money where it doesn't affect her. So.
Yeah. My wife, she's all, into the Hollywood.
She's right on one singular issue.
Yes.
And a lot of right-wing people have made her into a kind of avatar, like, oh, she's based. Like,
no,
she's still...
Caution.
So let's watch this video that Ryan Long, because I sang this video's praises last night. If you want to know what a unique quandary that the celebrities of the country have found themselves in, they've got to deal with this now. So let's watch this video, because Ryan Long is in fact a genius.
It's been a few days now. I still haven't weighed in on Israel-Palestine. I honestly don't know who to post. Usually it's easy. BLM, bang. Ukraine, bang. COVID, bang. Hey, did you do your Israel-Palestine post yet? I've never missed a stand. So who'd you go with? I look at my phone, I see a lot of Republicans supporting Israel, so I go, maybe stay away from that. Then I see a lot of the people we've been calling Nazis supporting Palestine. But then get this, the people that we've been calling them Nazis with are happy Israel's getting attacked. Riddle me that. But there really is no easy answer here. Did you do your Israel-Palestine post yet? No. What does your manager think of that?
I'm retired.
Oh, you don't have representation right now? Obviously, I was on the front lines of getting mad at Kanye West when he was doing the anti-Semitism stuff. Everyone was thanking me for standing up for the Jewish community. So naturally, I'm seeing this happen. I go, okay, we're back with the Jews again. I see Kylie Jenner post for Israel. I think, okay, the word's in. Then boom, she's getting killed on every angle, so it's not Israel. So I started doing a bit more research. I'm seeing queers for Palestine. And generally, you want to be on the side of the queers. If you look at the things, you're not going to get in trouble if you go with what the queers are saying. Then Mia Khalifa, who we obviously support, is posting with the queers. And she's getting fired from her job. The whole reason I'm posting is getting better standing with my job. And by the way, I started to see that your silence is noted post popping up, so we're running out of fucking time.
Your silence is noted.
I would stay out of it like I told you.
But if you kind of have to choose, which is sort of what a situation I feel like I find myself in. But you don't understand, I gotta post the support letting them. I know to you, it might be like, oh, who cares what he thinks? A buddy of mine booked a Geico commercial from his Ukraine TikToks. It feels like we like decolonizing. What is decolonizing? Is that just like killing the people?
It's a difficult situation.
That's literally what I was saying, man. Because normally it's pretty easy.
I don't know what the answer is.
This one's, I just want to post one of the flags and sort of be done with it. And Palestine, I'm getting yelled at if I post Israel. It's starting to feel like, if anything, I'm the victim here. I'm looking on the internet. I see Jews for Palestine. I kid you not. Also, I'm watching the parades. We're talking Times Square. Between me and you, when I see a bunch of brown people having a parade, I think it's a pretty safe bet to be on their side. Never failed me before. I mean, people are probably texting each other right now, wondering where my statement is. Israel, probably, right? Yeah. For me, it's a little more complicated. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I look at who's getting censored, that's a good place to look. Like, follow the YouTube warnings. And then I'm looking at UN women. I'm thinking, follow the SNIS. Whatever the women say is usually pretty good. They're just posting random shit that has nothing to do with it. Trans lesbians or lesbians. Can I just go with that? Just like a random blanket post. Just be like, hey, lesbos, just so you know, lesbos with dongs are still lesbos. Stop avoiding the dong lesbos. I can't. I feel like it's the wrong move. You going Israel or Palestine, you thinking?
No English.
Oldest trick in the book, my friend. I wish I could do the same. Okay, so like if Native people in America took down some girls at Coachella, I'd probably be like with the natives against me, right? Like that seems right. I can talk to my representation for you. Palestine's got to have Jewish people there, right? Like Palestine, isn't that? Am I being messed with here?
Ryan Long is a genius, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan Long is a genius.
That's wild.
But it is messy. It is a messy world to live in, but we don't live in a world that wants to deal with messy situations with nuance. We live in a world that wants to deal with messy situations with like 5-word slogans on billboards, right? On holding up a sign. And that's not really how you can do it this one, because here in America, it's just the media sends you your marching orders and you go with that, and you can't really do that right now.
I was just getting ready to come up here yesterday, and I was thinking about all this, and I was like, I haven't done one post about this, and I wonder if people are judging me for it, you know?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, I make a habit of not posting about these world events, especially in real time, because it's just like, it's too toxic. You know?
If they are judging you for that, they're stupid because you're not a politician.
I'm not a politician, but because like you have followers and they love what you guys do. And they want to know what you think. And
that
so,
is interesting, right? Like you'll have people reach out to you about stuff that you know nothing about. And they're like, what's your take on this? I'm like, bro, you don't want to know
Trust me, absolutely no one has asked me for my take on Israel-Palestine. Thank God for that.
And not for me either. And that's like, I don't want, like, I'd be like,
I'm not going to court that audience.
You know what I would do though? I'd be like, check the episode tomorrow. And then I'd just keep saying that every day. I'd be like, yeah, I got a deep take on it. Just tune into Pop Culture Crisis tomorrow for my takes on the actual conflict, right?
All of a sudden you got like 50,000 people watching live, and they're like, when is he going to say it?
And then it's just like, oh, guys, sorry. Like my dog ate my speech. I got to come back tomorrow.
Yeah.
We'll be back tomorrow with my thoughts on it. I really want to make sure that it's nuanced, it's detailed, and then just lead them on for like a week until they finally give up because they're just like, look, it's not in the news anymore. I don't know if I care anymore what's going on. But I wouldn't want to be a mainstream celebrity right now. I think for a lot, but this isn't just them, right? It's like if you have a Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, as they say, Twix, you kind of are, then people expect to have your opinion on these things, and not everyone's going to. Like there's that meme that always goes around where people talk about it whenever something like this happens. Like everybody who was an issue, like an expert on gender issues last week is now a foreign policy expert, right? Like I aspire to not be an expert on anything ever. Like I don't want to be an expert on anything.
No, give it time. Like give it a month or probably less than that, and this will all be a distant memory, and they'll be making statements about something else.
Yeah, like it's like it really is. Maybe the most genius meme in the last couple of years has been the "I support the current thing."
I guess the current thing before this was the SAG and Writers Guild strikes.
I think it was still Ukraine to most people.
And Ukraine. Yeah. What else?
But this story kind of breaks that for the celebrities. They can't just be "I support the current thing" because there is people on both sides telling them that what they are saying is the current thing, and they should feel bad about it. And they have a unique fear because look, it can affect their work even more than the average person. For some of these people, if they get it wrong, then suddenly somebody says no, that was the wrong answer. You're never going to be hired again because you supported the wrong side on this, whatever your opinion of the wrong side is. It's what happens when you're a celebrity, in that your opinions are no longer your own, they're for sale. And that's a scary world to live in.
And I was telling you guys earlier about that story where like I was tagged in something on Twitter, and it was just a picture, it was a still shot of somebody laying on the ground, a woman standing there, and somebody else stomping the person. But the image was all like the person stomping was like a shadow. And so that's why they tagged it like paranormal, right? And so I commented, I'm like, I don't know what this is. I never saw this as a video. What's the story behind it? And the comments underneath it and stuff, like somebody went to my profile and they saw on my header image said merkel.media, and they're like, and he says media. I'm like, hey, idiot. Like there's more to media than news and current events and your opinion on the world events. Like, and I was just like, I just had a Twix is what you said.
That's what I like Twix.
I unplug so much from that because it's just like I don't know how to identify in that space. So
also it's like I guess it's kind of like going to LeBron James for your news information.
Oh my gosh.
Or Stephen A. Smith's like, I thought you worked for ESPN. That's a media company. Like a sports media company. It's different. Like I'm sorry, but for the average celebrity, they're like, look, I act, I read lines off of a page, and I go on set. I don't really know anything that's going on in the world.
They tell you to touch grass, but then when you actually do it, they hate on you for it.
Absolutely.
For not being up on the current thing.
Is there a, like, I can't think of an example, like, recently where this is the type of thing where the celebrities aired on the side. This is the first time I can remember them airing on the side of caution with their responses for a while. Normally, they're, like, on a lightning pace to see who can get out there first. Our hearts are with this person. Yeah. And a lot of them waited on this. And I think that that's because they have their agents telling them, like, look, just hold off. That whole thing is a slippery slope. There's a lot of reasons, and there's other people you could bring on the show to break it down. But I think there's a lot of psychological and underlying things in the Hollywood culture that makes them have to kind of be very confused as to which side they need to pick. Maybe because they're so used to putting up a front that they're never actually their true selves, right? You're never actually who you really are to the world. Yeah. You're constantly some type of weird, like, facsimile of your personality. Yeah. And who you are with your, within your private life is so vastly different, because that's true of really any famous person who's smart enough to understand how to implement a social media manager and an agent, right? Is that they're going to get 15 to 20% of who you really are. And this is all such a new thing. I mean, like, for decades, you're a celebrity, you play a character on TV in a movie, and when you turn that off, it's off. But now we live in a world with digital media, and you have to be part of that to be, successful and stuff. So all of a sudden you have to project another image, and this image is now something that a director's not telling you what to project. You have to project the right image, and the pressure of that. No wonder, as I was just gonna say, like, no wonder anxiety is so high. Oh my gosh. And like, antidepressant use is so high, and celebrity
college students are getting assaulted with fear porn right now.
And celebrities they make a big deal of therapy. They love talking about going to therapy. Maybe that's why, because they have to sit there and worry 24/7. They're just constant anxiety.
I thought they hired other people to worry for them.
But even then you have to worry about, like, so that person says the wrong thing. You're like, sorry, that was my social media manager that said that, not me. And then people are like, wait, so it's never been you that I've been talking to?
Why did Disney make a statement? Bob Iger made a statement, and Disney's donated.
$20 one here from Brandon Rodriguez. Says, Tony Merkel on PCC, you going to be on IRL too? I emailed you in January about sharing my lucid dreaming astral projection experience with you on your show, and how those experiences ultimately brought me to becoming a Christian. Awesome. That's crazy. Yeah. That's crazy. It's crazy.
I guess your wife saw the email.
She's like, I don't want to do nothing with astral projection.
No, we're scheduling into February right now. So it's just, there's such a high demand to be on the show that it's a long process. And I don't really, I try not, I don't know how to say that without, like,
everyone just wants to be on my
I know, exactly. It's one of those things where, like, I'm still working on how do you say the truth without sounding arrogant. It's not arrogant. It's just really what it is. And so when people say such things, and thank you for commenting, it's a really long time. It just takes a while.
I did a book report on lucid dreaming when I was in, like, the 5th grade.
Yeah.
I still remember that.
Lucid dreaming is part of the biggest story I've ever worked on in my life that hasn't been released yet. It is insane.
Crazy?
Oh, it is going to be. I'm telling you right now, if you ever have me back, I'm telling you, I'll have a story that it changes everybody's lives forever. It's wild.
So what did Disney say?
Disney donated $2 million to Israel humanitarian relief, and then Bob Iger put out a statement. I mean, the statement is just as nebulous as all the other ones, so I'm not even going to repeat it. But what interest does Disney have in getting involved in this, when, like, being involved in politics, even just locally, has burned them in the past?
You're still expected to make a statement in these types of things, and they waited long enough until they had the clear side of who they were supposed to support here. Like, they're not going to hire any of the weird college kids supporting Hamas. They're not. Well, that was the thing they were talking about yesterday. Like, a bunch of kids at college. First of all, there was this story about, like, college kids who got extra credit for going to, like, a pro-Hamas, like a pro-Palestine rally from their teacher, and it was like a gender studies teacher. But also, like, a bunch of kids signed like an open letter. There we go, open letters. You said open letters never work. This one did the opposite, where a bunch of kids signed a letter that was, like, pro-Palestine or, like, pro-Hamas or whatever, and they didn't even really look at what they were signing. resigning,
Yeah.
and now CEOs are like, we're not going to hire you.
Yeah.
That's insane.
So I guarantee you, majority of those kids were freshmen. They haven't been properly brainwashed yet. Give until they're seniors. This happens, they'll make the right decisions.
Like, because it's like, there's no good answer here. You're either, like, to them, you're either evil or you're stupid.
Yeah.
You're either evil and you supported, blatant terrorism, or you're stupid and you signed something and put your name behind something that you didn't actually read into, which isn't good either. These celebrities are now trying to avoid that right now. They're like, I do not want to put my name behind something that's going to get me in trouble for the rest of my life.
Right.
I wouldn't want to be a celebrity. I really wouldn't.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to Super Chats.
Let's go to Super Chat, shall we?
Shane H. Wilder said, I've had an interaction with the demonic once. I wrote about it in my Padre Pio review. I've also had a visitation from St. Michael.
Wow.
Tell us more. That's interesting.
That is interesting.
Purpill said, first time at Target, they're playing Lil Nas X. Second time, heard a mom tell her teenage son, it's because you're like a girl, boy. Third, no items in men's department.
There's plenty of items in the men's department, but what do they mean you're a girl, boy? Like, you're
both.
Or like, I was hoping for something more, like when I was reading this, like left to right, I was hoping for something more wholesome where it said like, it's because you like a girl. I thought it said because you like a girl. I'm like, oh, that's kind of sweet. Oh, it's because you're a girl boy.
You're like a girl boy.
Okay, let's do one more.
Shane H. Wilder said Virgin Atlantic and Virgin Records were both founded by Richard Branson, so you were technically not wrong, Brett.
Perfect.
Bang.
See, I don't like being wrong, so that's perfect right there. All right, let's move on, shall we? Let's talk about this. Mary found this disturbing clip. It's disturbing. Tell us about it, Mary.
So there was a clip that went viral from a Disney film I had never heard of called Prom Pact. I guess it's a new one. And they decided to replace an entire row of people in this clip with AI deepfake characters that are extremely obvious and super uncanny valley, like frightening to look at. And you wouldn't catch it at first. It's just a blip.
We'll watch it. We'll watch it because it's only like a 7-second clip, right? So we'll watch the clip through once and then we'll slow it down so you can see it here. It's creepy, guys. Here we go. Watch this. I'm not gonna play. I don't remember if there's music or. So here's the clip, right? Now pause it. Look at the the people in the back row.
That's wild.
Oh, it's so creepy. Look at the clapping is so fake.
It looks like a video game.
Nobody
PS5
claps like this. It's this is what the actors have all been scared of. They're like, I don't want to be replaced by some person. Like, this feels like a Goosebumps episode or like Night of the Living Dummy. Like, it's so, like, the eyes are so dead and empty.
The extras in the first row look just as soulless, though. So.
Yeah.
It actually looks kind of marionette-esque.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like they're on. Oh, that'd be even cooler. Instead of going AI, they just get like mannequins. I'd be down with that.
So
just make it weird.
This was reported because obviously one of the major contentions in the SAG-AFTRA negotiations are they don't want to be replaced by AI and they don't want to have their likenesses and their voices used without consent. And they don't want their material to be used to train AI. So a lot of people are butthurt about this. Disney and other studios have been digitally scanning background actors and are now using their digital likeness in various movies and TV shows without payment or permission. One tweet said Bob Iger would rather insert digital scans of background actors rather than paying actors their fair wage. SAG-AFTRA strong. Another one said, notice it's a whole row of AI actors. Yikes, Disney is insane, and just one more reason why the AMPTP needs to ditch this plan to replace background actors with AI. The uncanny valley will always make your show or film look like hot garbage and age like milk.
It is funny because it's not like this is necessarily new. They've been doing this with like large scale scenes of people for years.
Sure.
I thought for those they're just using dummies.
Sometimes that, but sometimes it's just they're just placed digitally because the shot is framed so far away that you can't tell. Right? So it's like every year they're like, ooh, we can get a little bit closer.
Yeah.
We can eliminate a couple more people.
In this case, I guess they're saying that these are extras who have been hired for Disney projects in the past that got digitally scanned and placed in a different project.
I love this. I love the idea that the poor lady here who's in this shot is just like appalled. She's like, I don't look like that. I don't move. She's like, I don't clap like that. Here, see, this is how a human being claps.
Not like this.
Like, I don't go, Like that's what she's upset about. She's like, look, I know you're like, I'm mad that I didn't get paid. I'm more angry that you made it look like I don't know how to clap.
Yeah, she looks like a mannequin that came to life, and she's like, I did not act like that at all.
Tony, a question for you: do you think that there are digital cryptids?
I think there's definitely.
I believe there was one that went viral called Loab. I don't know why people named it that, but it's this woman who seems to be recurring in AI-generated images.
Yeah.
She becomes more and more, I guess, disturbing and demonic looking the more you regenerate the image.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy you bring that up, and I feel like that was years ago, but it couldn't have been years ago. It was like last year, and I don't remember. But that whole story was this guy was generating these images, and he was putting in different prompts into, I think, Midjourney. And while he was putting these prompts in, he started seeing the same character started popping up more and more, and it kind of really got the gear going as to people talking about like, hey, can demonic entities possess AI? You know, in my mind, I'm like, the jury's still out. I don't know. I think that
I totally believe that's possible.
Like if demons, if we say demons can possess inanimate objects.
So Brett pulled that up.
Loab is an emergent character
that?
that arises in certain AI images, AI image synthesis models, accessible via negatively weighted prompts. Despite not being a real person, the AI could reproduce Loab more consistently than most celebrities. Even more unsettlingly, feed images of Loab back into the model often resulted in disturbing, gruesome imagery, often of dismembered women and children, all while preserving her recognizable likeness. That's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary. So what do you think creates that?
I totally think that the demonic is a possibility there.
Yeah.
Like, if demons use media to spread confusion, division, and evil in the world, why would this be any exception? Why would this new technology be any exception to that rule? You know?
It makes you wonder, like with what you said, is it possible for them to actually possess technology? Like, not just influence those who are creating it, but possessing it itself.
That's already, recurring theme in lots of stories of demonic infestation and possession is that they manipulate technology or make it malfunction, use it as a distraction.
I like the way you're going. I do. I dig it.
So it's like, so the demons are doing it, or a person who's summoning a demon via AI is doing it?
There have also been people posting stories where they're interacting with like a text AI like ChatGPT or others that encourage you to commit violent acts or instruct you on how to commit violent acts, things like that. Yeah,
I'm a big fan of AI, but I also recognize the problems with it as well, the dangers. And the way I'm viewing it, at least right now, and my mind could change tomorrow. You know, I'm open to that. But like in the 1900s, the 1990s, like the internet and stuff. I mean, the whole thing was, you know, hey, this is a fad, or some people were saying this is dangerous, and it wound up, you know.
I believe the internet was a mistake.
You think it's a mistake?
I don't think human beings were designed to be bombarded with information.
There's a great argument for that.
I don't believe that there's any example in history where being like, yes, you need to be connected to other people, but being this connected to this many people without being able to physically recognize their inherent humanity while having a discussion was not something we were built for.
Connection. It's just like we weren't built to be aware of this many people. You were in history in a village of like 300 people, and that's your maximum amount that you can actually feel empathy for.
Yes, and especially when people weaponize your lack of your perceived lack of empathy for something
for groups of people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like I don't believe. Like I understand that technology has made our lives unbelievably easier, but the price we pay for that is the human cost that we're seeing now, which is a society that, at least on its face, in my opinion, is more divided than perhaps it's ever been. But that's because before you were limited to the people in your town, and then you went to college and you were limited to the people at your work, and you didn't have, like, when you really think about it, the average person doesn't actually get into a lot of like fierce disagreements in your life. Like you might be confrontational at work under the guise of work, right? But you're not like, if you went out with your friends and you're like, how does this outfit look? Depending on your friends, sure, your friends might like rag on you, say you look stupid or something, but you're going to ask your friends who you've already developed a rapport with, people that you have a relationship with. You weren't designed, human beings were not designed to be like, here, I made this, and then have a bunch of people you don't know tell you that you're the stupidest, worst, most awful person that's ever existed, and every opinion you have is trash.
The entire world is strangers to you, and they're looking at you. Yeah, and it's psychologically it jacks you up. I just think that we can't live our lives away from the internet. Like it is ingrained in everything. Yeah, and that is exactly where I think AI is going. And so I look at it as be responsible with it, use it to where you can. But be very aware of the dangers of it. I fully expect one day there's going to be a video of me doing something that I never did before. And I got to cross that bridge when it comes. I think we're all going to have to deal with that. It just takes somebody who doesn't like you with the technology, which will be readily accessible at their fingertips.
Celebrities are already dealing with that.
Which is what that strike was all about, right? So, I mean, taking the likeness.
It's scary, and I really do think that the ability to have access to all the information you could ever want. First of all, we don't use it for that most of the time. You use it to look at memes, and like having access to all that information is a great tool to have, but it just grows conflict, and it's made information sharing almost impossible now because you look at what's going on, and you're being fed 50 different stories with 50 different narratives. Back in the day, we were being lied to by the media, but your brain felt more in tune, and you had more harmony in your brain. It's why I don't believe that we'll ever in our lifetime see like the support that we had for like America had after 9/11, right? So what's going on right now, the first thing I said was like seeing the bloodlust that people had after what just happened. I was like, I get now how the Patriot Act got passed so fast, but there's still distinct pushback going on online that wasn't there 20 years ago. That's a beautiful thing, to be able to have access to all this information, to be able to parse through the details and figure out where you stand. But the average person doesn't have the time to do that with everything, which makes people rife for manipulation. Yeah. Right? It's just scary.
We got a $20 one from Jacob Edler. Mary is referring to Dunbar's number. The theoretical boundary for a healthy, sustainable community is about 200 people.
I mean, isn't that kind of why they say like your average communist group works up until about 50 to 75 people, and then it starts to fracture because the social dynamics become too complex. And as we know, human motivation, it's just you can't trust things to work that cleanly.
I feel like I heard something like that along those lines where the human brain can only hold the identity of 200 people with their names.
Really?
That's what I feel like I remember hearing that somewhere, where it's like, you do celebrities and stuff like that, but like people in your everyday life that like you can really only contain 200 people and their names at the same time before you start filtering people out. And that's why you get people saying, I can't remember his name, because it's somebody that like was number 1 and now you're on number 200 and start filtering through.
Yeah. And to be fair to what these celebrities were saying, I think I saw a chat earlier. Somebody said, where were these celebrities when every other job in America was being automated? Learn to code, as they say.
Yeah, well, this article from Variety says celebrities are likely to be among the first public victims of non-consensual deepfakes. And this is going to start affecting consumers as well. They found out that Gen Z are more likely to fall for deepfake scams on the internet, probably because they're more active on the internet to begin with. But yeah, we saw Mr. Beast advertising an iPhone 15 giveaway, and
there's also like this weird.
That wasn't real.
It was not real.
Shoot.
There's I think a lot of it. Somebody like Jessica had this great theory that one of the reasons that people like these companies want you using like the TikTok voice, like the automated voice or Alexa, is because it's programming you to be responsive to automated voices that aren't human, right? And you think about it, and it's like. One of the reasons Britney Spears' AI songs work so well is because her voice is already so filtered and automated and edited that it like in your brain it triggers something where it doesn't feel as fake because it was already fake to begin with, and we're just moving to an increasingly fake world, and that's really true right now. Anyways, on like the macro scale, you're experiencing most of your life algorithmically now. Like back in the day, like maybe you read the paper. Like maybe you might watch the news a little bit when you got home. My dad would come home, watch the news for 20 minutes, be annoyed by the news, rightfully, and then go on about his day. Now you're constantly looking at information that's being filtered to you in infographics and social media posts. Like to imagine that we wouldn't have been as affected by it as we have been is kind of naive to me. Like I'm actually surprised in a lot of ways that it's not worse.
Yeah.
In a lot of ways. So these celebrities will just be the face, the next face of how that victim, the McDonald's workers are like first time.
Yeah, but it's confusing because they did a survey on U.S. consumers' concerns about the misuse of AI, and the very lowest one was AI replacing me at my job among those employed. The very lowest among all of these different concerns, like identity theft and stuff like that.
What if it ends up being like everyone loves like Elon Musk as this kind of meme lord, quasi-libertarian figure, but right now he's in the process of automating all the cars. So like if you got a driving job, they're just going to buy the car that drives the stuff to drop off for them.
Well, his baby mama Grimes is a communist. Everyone knows that.
Yep.
And she buys into automating everything and replacing everyone's jobs with AI because she believes it will bring about the communist utopia where you don't have to work to have comfort and all of the material comforts that we
Society
enjoy in
would
modern
collapse
life.
Because we're not designed to just have nothing to do.
Exactly.
Like, I mean, have you ever gotten bored? Like seriously.
But she'll be like, oh, well, now we can just enjoy all of our hobbies instead
all
of
of these people,
working.
I really believe drugs is a big part of this. A lot of these people, if you use drugs, like you're artificially changing the way your body reacts to what's going on around you. If you take a person who isn't smoking weed, who isn't taking Adderall, and you say, now sit in your room and watch TV for 12 hours and not coming off of working for 5 days. I'm not saying like after you need a day off. I'm saying do that for 2 weeks straight.
That's your job now.
That's your job now. Like I'm always like quasi-romantic about the idea of the weekend.
Yeah.
Then by the time Saturday's over, I'm like, I need to get back to work.
100%.
Yeah.
When I was
Thank you. Hold, please.
Need to work. Like I say this because there are like when we review movies and television, right? I'm like, there was a time when I used to be able to just watch 12 hours of TV a day at a time, and I'm like, man, it was so much easier back then. And then I think about it, I'm like, you were doing a lot of drugs back then, Brett. That's why you were able to sit still for 12 hours and pay attention to what you were doing. Now, in the cold, sober light of day, it is a lot harder to do that, especially when it's work related. So we're not designed to just sit around.
When I was driving tractor trailer, you work Monday through Friday and you're grinding 12, 14 hours a day. And by the time Friday comes, you're like, I can't wait to just go home, sleep, relax, watch some TV. And just before kids, watch TV all day, Saturday, Sunday. By Sunday evening, I'm like, I'm kind of ready to get back to work and get back in the truck and start driving, Like it's just, and maybe I'm weird like that, but like it was just like I was ready to I was refreshed and I'm ready to get back to work and get moving. And also we hear about how many people do we hear they work their entire lives, they retire, and then they die because they're so used to doing and
cops
and
that happens
going.
to,
yeah,
like
truckers.
Truckers
very often with truckers, as soon as they retire, they're done. I can't tell you how many guys I know that died in the truck because it's just it's that much of a demanding job. Whether you're physically unloading the stuff or just driving across country, bouncing up and down all the time, when you stop that, your body doesn't know how to do anything else.
I'm not gonna lie. One of my favorite YouTube channels is this guy named Alex Nino. It's trucking. It's literally. It's YouTube trucking content, and it's like the wholesome version of like what did we watch the other day about the lady who's like what I expect from my husband as a
Dubai housewife.
As a Dubai housewife. This guy's like, he's like, what it's like to be a interstate trucker in the state of California, and I'm like, yes, and it's like all the videos like I get done with my route, and then he's got like the separate room in the truck where he goes back and he plays Xbox, and I'm like, I'm watching him like, I have no idea why I'm watching this. I don't have a clue. I have no idea why it's interesting to me, but it's interesting to me. But yeah, like we're designed to have a purpose in life, and you're designed to stay busy. Like even like now, like even on days when I'm done working, it's like then I need to go out and I need to go skate and I need to get physical and I need physical activity. You're not designed to just sit around. Plus, the reason they want that is then these people will be bored, so they'll go protest shit. That's what they really want them for.
It's like it's about challenge too, right? I mean, like you want that challenge. You don't want the layup all the time where it's like, oh, you go do your hobbies and it doesn't matter if you're good at it. Doesn't matter if you succeed to a certain level with it. It's just you're happy you get to do your hobby. It's like, no, but the challenge is there. Like we want the challenges in life, whether it's with a hobby or with work. I mean, Brett, you post picture or videos on your Instagram of skating and stuff, and I can't tell you how many times, especially like I think last year you were doing it a lot, where you would post about your failures in the process and showing people the mess ups and stuff. And it's about the challenge. And like you're very talented with skating, and you still have that challenge of hitting the right move in the right time. And it's like, well, yeah, that's the hobby and stuff. But once something becomes too easy and you have to do it all the time, like you need that next thing. I just don't think that, like you said, I don't think that we're meant to just sit around and just be complacent in one thing.
The internet is going to ruin it for everyone. Wouldn't that be kind of the weird final scene where it's like, finally, nobody has to work, and then the world falls apart. Like, we've got unlimited money, we don't need to work, and then society just collapses because people don't have a purpose or have anything to do. That would be almost...
Wouldn't that be crazy if that was the start of the zombies? They just walking around zombie, you know?
Yeah. It's like they turn themselves into zombies through lack of purpose.
Yeah.
Also, like I said, I think that just how medicated our culture is right now plays a role in all
Big
that
time.
as well. Let's go to Super Chats.
DCNC said, Tony, true or false, Bigfoots are from Saskatchewan? Saskatchewan?
Is that where they're from? Sasquatch is from Saskatchewan?
Like that's, yes, 100%, right?
True.
By the way, speaking of Bigfoot, I'm going to end the poll today, ladies and gentlemen, because they always get mad. They say that I forget to end the poll. I never actually forget to end the poll. They're lying. I asked, is Bigfoot real? 44% of you say, look, it's complicated.
It is complicated.
29% say definitely real, and just 26% say total hoax.
We shouldn't have given you a third option. That was a cop-out.
That's amazing.
But you said it's real and it's complicated.
Yeah, it's very real and it's very complicated. Very complicated.
Waffle Sensei said Bigfoot is an alien. Bigfoot is a Wookiee.
It's possible. You know what's interesting is that there's this guy that was supposed whistleblower probably about 5 years ago. And he said that he was a biologist scientist in the military, and part of his job was working on biological pieces that they've recovered. And it wasn't like he was working on a full body alien, but it was just like pieces of flesh kind of thing. And he said that the most accurate alien representation he's ever seen in Hollywood was the Wookiee.
Really?
That's what he said. And I was like, and I was sitting there, I was like, it's Bigfoot. Bigfoot's an alien. He's surfing a UFO, bro. Like,
it is kind of interesting, like how like everyone's image of what an alien is. Like that one thing I love about the movie Independence Day is they talk about how it ripped off from all these other movies. They're like, it's the ship from V and the aliens from Aliens and all that stuff. And like you immediately go to like a little bit reptilian, a little bit like they're always like vaguely wet. Yeah. And like, you don't know why. Like, are they sweating all the time?
It's just the sweat pores, man.
Yeah. It's just different atmospheres, right? But technically, Superman's an alien, too. So he just happens to look like, you know, a jacked, tall, handsome
he looks like how the humans want to look.
and then that's when like you point out whenever they're like, he had kids with Lois Lane. I'm like, he's an alien.
Yeah, that's
kids with Lois Lane.
That's a direct point to the Nephilim, the fallen angels having sex with women. The offspring were Nephilim beings.
See, there
it is.
Like, so take that, Lois. You had sex with an alien.
Why wouldn't the aliens come to Earth appearing like hot men and women?
I mean,
well, now they would come looking like Lizzo if they want to.
Or Dylan Mulvaney.
Yeah, or Dylan Mulvaney. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is.
Maybe Dylan Mulvaney has been an alien trying to dominate the world.
Case solved. Case solved.
That could absolutely be what it is. Like they don't have all the information. And they're just kind of getting it wrong. They're
LGBTQ UFO.
Yes. Yes.
They had one day where their interceptor was down and they missed a whole chapter of human existence.
They get here, they're like, what's XX and what the hell's XY? Like they're just trying to figure it out. I buy that.
G. Santoyo said, do you know anything about the I don't know how to say this, squonk of Pennsylvania? Yeah,
that's a squonk of Pennsylvania. It's a cryptid that is rare and only seen in Pennsylvania in the Pocono Mountains.
Okay.
And basically, the legend is that this thing is so ugly that it cries at itself and melts itself into a puddle of nothing. And
I do that all the time.
Yeah, like there's a image.
That's just a Friday night for me. I don't know why that's so rare.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys don't need to go to Pennsylvania for that.
It's a 4-legged creature in the Poconos that is all wrinkly, looks like a mix between a bulldog and your grandmother, you know?
Perfect.
Wait, I think I've seen videos of that before.
I've only ever done one episode on it. It was really interesting because this guy, he supposedly hit this thing. He didn't know what it was. And when he got out of his car, it was just gone. And he's like, I don't know what happened, but he described it. And he said it wasn't until years later that he saw in a forum this thing squonk, and he looked at the picture. He's like, and it's just sketches. And he's like, that's what I freaking hit. And I was like, tell me it was in the Poconos. He's like, it was. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Totally believe it. Wait, isn't the Poconos mostly rich people?
I don't know. There's poor people up there. Yeah.
It's like the one ugly rich person up there. That's what it is.
There's this one resort that like people love going on vacation to. It's like for married people. Like they go there and like all the tubs are in the shape of hearts and stuff. And the only thing I look at, I'm like, how many people had sex in that thing? I am not touching that. You know, it's just disgusting.
Yep.
It's gross.
Gross. Yeah.
Wash the sheets.
10 times. Bring
Shane
your own.
Wilder said the point of charity is to not make it about you. Yeah.
Yes, that is absolutely true.
It's true.
The point of posting infographics is
this
to make
is
it about
actually
you.
one of those things where like when you donate to like a GoFundMe or something like that, and then the idea is like they ask you, like they make sure point to ask you, like, do you want to put your name? Do you want to be known that you donated? And then, but also like the counter argument to that is like, actually one of the best things you can do is actually share so that more people can have the opportunity to find out about it like that. But then you're basically saying that you are, because not everybody can donate, right? But it is interesting where the idea of charity is that it's best done when it's done in a selfless manner. Yeah. Because otherwise it turns into what we have now, which is celebrities who are like, I am going to donate to this cause because I am a good person, because they're using it for social status.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Potatoes for Seamus said, Mary, tell Brett to get over Olive and embrace Mocha.
Green olives are amazing, and anybody who says differently is wrong. Yeah. You're not just wrong, you're spectacularly wrong.
I don't care either way, but why would you hate green olives?
No, I love green olives.
But why would anyone hate green olives?
Because
like,
they're
not an
they're
offensive
generally bad
food.
people.
We're actually talking about the food.
Yes,
I'm not missing
olives.
anything here?
No.
Okay, because I love green olives.
Thank you.
I will eat them out of the jar.
A man of culture.
Yeah.
I see.
This is controversial.
The thing is, Mary, that people who don't like them tend to be bad people. Mm-hmm. Generally,
communists.
The dregs of society. Communists, evil dictators, awful people. As for Mocha, derpy, I pass no judgments other than, in another lifetime, it would be very hard to keep a derpy cat like that alive, because the mom would see it and just be like, failure in the gene pool, and just end
it's
it.
the runt of the litter.
But that's okay. The people love Mocha anyways. I get it. Again, you're wrong, but at least you're wrong with conviction.
DCNC said, do UFOs have Intel trademark inside?
Intel trademark?
He just said TM. I don't know.
Oh, like the company Intel, like Intel. Like
I guess.
I'm still trying to figure out how.
Do they have IBM?
I'm still trying to figure out how Jeff Goldblum defeated an alien ship with an iMac or with a MacBook back in 1997. Like, that's kind of scary, right?
It's
like,
magic.
Can you imagine like a world where that alien just had antivirus software on his computer? Nothing would have happened. We would have lost to the aliens in the movie Independence Day, all because they didn't have. I don't know what's if only we had like a sponsor. Like if we had like a virus, like an antivirus sponsor right now, like
that's
or
why
like,
you need ExpressVPN.
That's why if there is an alien strike going on, you need ExpressVPN.
Yeah, the aliens are totally not able to break through your VPN.
Yes.
Why do aliens want to be in our business so bad?
Yeah.
Resources.
Well.
It's our natural resources, but it should be fine because climate change. We should be fine anyways.
What good are our resources on their planet?
They never explain that in that movie. Like they just explain that in the movie Independence Day. He says, "I saw their thoughts. They're like locusts going from planet to planet, sucking up their natural resources." I'm like, doing what?
Isn't that
Like they're just blowing shit up. Is that like when you blow all this stuff up? Does that like suck all the natural resources into the fire and then it goes up in the ship? They didn't explain that part in the movie.
It was the 90s, man.
You want their dinosaur oil.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is.
Do you believe dinosaurs are fake?
Oh, fake? No, I don't think they're fake. No.
Okay.
I mean, I think that, I think there's a lot of different arguments that go around with that. But from what I understand, I mean, the dinosaurs that you see in the museums, like the bones, they're usually not complete, but I definitely think that people are discovering things for sure. I mean, but I'm also the guy that believes that there are giant skeletons scattered around this country that we still need to excavate. So
they like took one giant's shin and like put it on a dinosaur skeleton.
Yeah. And they're like, look, a goose, so...
Suitable Mistake Production said, "Hey Tony, big fan of the pod. Fell down the confessional rabbit hole. As a joint venture, I would love to find dogmen in the LBL and death cults at Joshua Tree. Let me know when and where to meet you."
What's LBL?
So Land Between the Lakes. That's actually where we're shooting our next film this month. We're going for a week into the LBL where this dogman creature has been known to roam and supposedly has killed possibly up to or over 20 individuals at different times. There's this legend of this family that was massacred in the LBL, which actually happened, and they don't know how it was possible or what did it. And a lot of people believe that it was this dogman creature. Mm-hmm. So we're spending a week hunting the dogman in the LBL, and we actually have a guy coming out that invented a technology that he believes will possibly open up a portal. And I was like, bring it out, bro.
Somebody needs to make to just hit the east side of the LBC, but they need to make it LBL.
LBL.
Yeah.
Do the cryptids want to kill us for sport or for
Did we miss a $20 one here? From Jacob Edler. Mary is referring to Dunbar's number.
Yeah, I already read
that.
Just
making sure. What were you saying?
Do cryptids kill people for sport or for food? Or are they malicious? Are they scared? Why don't they want to be friends?
It's interesting because you hear different stories from different people where, all right, for instance, let's go with this dogman creature. Most of the time I've ever heard a story from this, it's terrifying. They come after you. It's like they want to kill you, okay? When in those cases, these are adults that experience it as adults. I have talked to several people now who have experienced this dogman creature when they were a child, and it was a completely different environment. These things almost were benevolent to the child. It's like they wanted nothing to do with it, or they were just almost curious. But it was not a scary thing.
Mm-hmm. Because the kids don't feel fear in the moment?
Maybe, or they don't fear the kid as much because they know that they don't have a gun or something. I don't know. But it's interesting because I've heard stories of people having very peaceful interactions with like Bigfoot and things like that. And then there's other people that not so much, they had to pull the gun out.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Bookstore Thor said, "Don't mention Nephilim portal baby dogman." What is this about?
Nephilim portal baby. So he's talking about the portal babies. Yeah, he's trying to down your broadcast right now because there's this topic that my friend Joel from Van Tesla, so Joel started out in my life as a musician that he came into my studio in Pennsylvania and we had a great show. He's a Freemason that is no longer practicing, and he has some wild experiences. And he, after was in my studio and we became friends, he started really diving into a lot of different things, and he started developing this theory about Nephilim and this what we call the portal baby theory. And whenever he goes into this topic and starts talking about other people's shows, their broadcasts go down. And it just happened.
If it goes down,
it won't because I'm not talking detail. But it literally just happened about 2 days ago.
Wait, no, go into detail. Let's test this out.
I'm so tempted to just end this right now.
No, go into detail. Go into detail.
Well, I can't because it's not my theory. I don't know the detail like he does, But the idea is that we're talking about interdimensional beings like fallen angels using technology. And anyways, 2 days ago, he texted me and he's like, I was on such podcast and it happened again. And it happened in my studio. So he tells me this whole thing and I'm like, okay, bro, right. I'm like, come on. Like, it has to be a coincidence. Like 3 times, okay, but it has to be a coincidence. And then I told him, I said, why don't you get those 3 guys, all those podcasts, and you come down to my studio in Tennessee. We're going to do this in person. And he's like, cool. So the day of, I think it was the day of, we're preparing for this at my studio, and my mixer board just stops working. It lights up, but it will no longer work. And now if people look on videos in my studio when I have an in-studio guest, you'll see a mixer board behind the guest. That's the board that just got fried. Like, it still lights up. It still looks like it should work. It won't work. Rode has no idea why it doesn't work. And so now it's just a piece on my shelf. But like, I had to replace a $700 mixer because it just got fried before he even got there. And so we had to like jerry rig the whole system to get the show done.
That's crazy.
It was weird. In one of my broadcasts after that recording, it was during that recording actually is when it went down, because you hear, it was about a 3-hour conversation, and we had about an hour and a half where you could hear through the microphones and everything. And then while we were recording, it went down. We didn't know it. And so what I wound up doing to salvage everything, which I don't recommend ever, I took the audio off the cameras that were running and put it in for the second half of the show. So I had great audio for the first half.
The rest was camera audio.
Shot.
That's awful.
But yeah, it happened with us and stuff. And it's really weird. Like, some of these topics you talk about, it's just weird things follow it.
Weird.
Talk about Dogman too. Weird stuff happens.
DC&C said the actors, writers complaining about automation of their industry, was it the same energy when other jobs went, or were they saying learn to code? Yeah.
They were likely saying learn to code amongst themselves and to their friends. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, it sucks to be you. They'll never replace me. They need a human being.
I'm too talented.
I'm too talented.
I'm too special.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Shane H. Wilder said the St. Michael, my dad's patron saint, visitation came 2 days before my dad passed away. He came to tell me that my dad's time had come. While sad, it gave me a sense of peace. What's the next one? Perturbed Alpaca said AI art is just technically advanced spirit writing with even less control. The machine opens the door and invites whatever happens near. Awful.
Thoughts?
That's really interesting.
Yeah, like automatic writing is definitely a demonic practice, and it can be used with AI as well, I'm sure.
Definitely. That's really interesting.
What is spirit writing?
It basically from what I understand, like inviting a spirit to write through your body.
Yeah, it's also called automatic writing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's how the Enneagram system was invented.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
What is that?
It's like a personality analysis type of thing. But this whole system, like, that types you, sort of like MBTI.
Like type A, type B personality type stuff, or?
It's done by numbers, I think.
Okay.
But it's sort of like Myers-Briggs, but it was invented not through like psychological analysis, but by automatic writing. And I had to look into that because I think when one of my college orientation things, they had us do that for like career development, because oftentimes they have you do Myers-Briggs too. And I looked into it and I was like, you guys need to stop having our students do this at a Catholic college, because this is demonic in origin.
Yeah.
Bang Bang Lulu said, I live in the country with no neighbors for miles. One time I saw a Sasquatch. Wait, no, a Sam Squatch.
Sam Squatch. That's from Trailer Park Boys.
Oh my God.
It's been a while since I watched that.
Oh, I still watch it.
Grofty said, always lurking and listening near the end of my workday. Thanks, PCC. Great guest. Hostage party, anyone?
Yeah, let's get a hostage party, because I would like to get a third crisis party before the weekend, ladies and gentlemen.
Or give us a third crisis party before our stream gets taken down.
Yes, before the Nephilim cause us to lose our stream.
It's a real phenomenon.
Is it big tech, the government, or fallen angels that are algorithmically
depends on who you've pissed off that day,
pushing our channel down?
Depends on who you've angered that particular day. I'd like to think that I would piss off the tech company before I'd piss off the fallen angels.
Yeah, me
personally.
Derp Space 9 said, next week have the inventor of the suck cut on.
Okay, so this is a Wayne's World reference.
Really?
There's the scene where he says, as you can see, it sucks and it cuts, and he's cutting Garth's hair, and it basically looks like a dirt devil.
Oh wait, no, I remember that now.
It certainly does suck. I love that movie.
I forgot about that.
Wayne's World is a classic, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even own a gun, let alone many guns that would necessitate an entire rack. What am I gonna do with a gun rack? It's a good question.
It's a good question.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, I've been watching horror films since 6. None of these scare me as an adult. Horror films are often silly, goofy, and have poor plot logic. Plus, they get their theology wrong, like The New Exorcist.
Yeah, like I imagine like the first thing to go in this modern age of crappy Hollywood writers was getting the actual, the background information correct, which would have been more important back in the day when writing was when Hollywood writing was more of a craftsman art than what it is now.
Derp Space 9 said, I was shoring up the rafters in my barn and dropped some lumber. The wood fell into the shape of a T. Mjolnir, Thor confirmed, more at 11.
Let's go! And I'm still hoping that this turns into a crisis, into a hostage party, because I would love to see a third crisis party for this guy over here. Let's do this.
Jacob Edler sent us 1013.
Ah,
Friday the 13th, stay out of trouble. Have a great weekend.
Okay, so here's the thing. So cops often talk about how on during the full moon, things go crazy. Like you don't know why, but people go crazy at the full moon. Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Better lighting outside.
Yeah, I think
half werewolf.
It's just better lighting for committing crimes.
To be able to go do. Yeah, but wouldn't you want less lighting
Actually,
so you can't be seen?
Wasn't it proven that cold, blue street lights have a psychological effect on people where they become more aggressive and more likely to commit crimes?
That's funny because back in the Mary wouldn't know this because she's so much younger than us. But back when I was a kid, street lights were yellow.
Yeah.
They were not.
Some of them still are.
Are they? So depending on
Yeah.
Do you see those purple ones?
Yeah. Oh, we have those in Minnesota. Okay, there's conspiracy theories.
I know there are. Yeah.
Okay, so in Minnesota, when I went back to visit, because I didn't see that anywhere out here, and I was driving past the airport, and so there's an airport, and then if you go farther down on 494, you end up at the Mall of America, and by the Mall of America, there's just purple lights. I'm like, why? Because I was with a friend. I'm like, why the hell are they purple? He goes, oh, it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
What's the conspiracy theory?
There's a lot of them actually, and the most recent one, because this has been happening for a few years, and I guess the official explanation was that these lights were made by accident and they just shipped them out, and it's just just use them.
It's a government contract, and the government's like, whatever.
It's fine, But it's interesting because I think the most recent one I had heard was that it's supposed to activate something in your blood from taking something in previous years, and so it was this whole technological thing where it's going to activate things in people's bloodline and stuff, and but I did start seeing these purple lights. I've heard about the purple lights, but I never saw it until I moved to Tennessee. In my little old town that I live in, I started seeing these purple lights pop up everywhere, and there's one down the road from us, and on our country road, I live out with cows, and there's this purple light that I drive underneath every night driving home from work, and I'm just this is weird, what if it's true,
It says apparently it's a manufacturing issue with certain LED light emitting diode bulbs. LEDs come with 3 colors filters, red, blue, yellow, and turns light white when it passes through all 3 of them. So it was just damaged or something like this, and it went out to this many states. This is an article.
Years.
This is an article from Tampa, not Minnesota. So why is it happening? This isn't a single
We're
batch.
all guinea pigs.
This wasn't a batch that went bad. We're all gonna, you know what it is? It's probably somehow connected to COVID.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yeah.
You think?
Yeah.
Crazy.
You said it, not me.
Yeah.
Grofty said, buck, buck, buck.
Thank you.
Rhaegar Targaryen said, I find paranormal stories compelling. I've asked everyone at work, and most people have a strange ghost story, etc. People really open up if they don't think you'll judge them as crazy. I don't have any. I don't have any stories like that.
What she just said is so true, and that's why, with my show, I sit down and let people share, and we have an open conversation, and we just see where it goes. And I think a lot of people have maybe you haven't had it, but a lot of people go through weird things that they just put in the back of their mind because it's just that was weird, but I have no way to explain it, and I'm not going to talk about it because there's nobody to talk to about it, and that's where Tony Merkel comes in. It's just I talk to people about that stuff, but yeah, I mean, the more I do this
the
stuff,
Dr. Phil.
I guess I am. Yeah, I just it's just Just sit and talk. I can't tell you how many people say that. It just
Dude,
feels good to
who's
get it
gonna
off
be
the
the bad-
chest.
Who is going to be the bad baby of the podcast? Cash me outside.
Catch me
me
outside.
outside,
How about
dog man.
that?
We have a $20 one here from Disco Jensen. Says, I hate to give money to YouTube, but feel obligated to contribute to the crisis. You have, my friend.
Thank you.
You have given us our
Thank
third
you.
crisis party. I actually have a story. So
What's that?
I don't have a lot of early memories, like from when I was very, very young. I have more pictures of a time period that I don't remember than actual memories of that time period. But I do remember I was so young that my mom would I still had to take bath. Like my mom ran bath water, right? And I still have this memory where like somebody walked outside the outside of the bathroom, somebody walked by and I got really freaked out and there was nobody else home.
Yeah.
Dad was gone, brother was gone, just my mom and me in the house, and I'll never forget that because I was like the only way to room was either the only place you could walk in that direction was either my parents' room or my brother's room, and I made my mom check there,
Yeah.
and I still think about that. And I don't have a whole ton of memories from that early in life.
It like scarred you.
Yeah, in a way. But at the same time, I'm not drawn to the paranormal or have extensive interest in ghost stories.
Yeah.
But that one, I guess it could have been a trick of the light. It could have been a lot of different things. But it is weird how it's like stuck in your brain from such an early time period in your life.
We had a really weird experience in our house in Pennsylvania before I moved. And it all circled around this dog man topic. It was really weird. So people talk about it being this interdimensional creature, right? And there's video of it online where it looks translucent. You see it, but it was caught on a Facebook Live video. So I don't know how you fake that. But in my house, it was after I shot Expedition Dogman, and we're gearing up for our release week. And that entire week, we're just talking about the topic. And if you want to talk about conjuring things, giving it attention and stuff, we're just talking about it. Like we're gearing up for it. And me and my wife had a meeting in my studio, and it was about 11 o'clock at night. And we went upstairs into the kitchen. And the way the house was set up is the entire downstairs was hardwood floor. And once you hit the carpet, it was at the stairs. And the entire upstairs was carpet. Mm-hmm. So we're standing in the kitchen, and she's eating like berries or something before we go to bed. And my cat, which is the only pet I have, and she's declawed, was sitting at my feet in the kitchen. And all of a sudden, we hear something very large walking bipedally in downstairs. And the way I know it's downstairs is because you hear the nails clacking on the floor as it walked. It was bipedal, and it was so big, we actually felt the floor vibrate. And I looked at my wife, and I said, "Did you hear that?" And her eyes are huge, and she's like, "I felt that." And I was like, "Yeah, me too." Like you could literally feel the floor vibrating.
It's a new house. It's not a ghost.
No, this was the old house.
Oh, this is the old house.
This was the old house in Pennsylvania, built in 1969. But like, I don't really hear a whole lot of stories of a bipedal ghost with really long toenails, you know. but we were talking a lot about this dog man thing, and I was like, did we just like conjure something? You know, I don't know, but I was like, you ready for bed? And we went to bed. We prayed and went to bed. You know, it's just like
makes sense.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
Wow. For me, I usually like chalk up things like that to demons and
Sure.
like aliens or just time traveling demons.
There's definitely an aspect to that, I believe.
Like that's compatible with what you're saying about them being like these interdimensional beings. And I don't know, what's the outcome of humans speculating about this, right? It seems to be just confusion, division, anger, misinformation.
Sure.
Like all of that is good. Like those are good outcomes for demons to create.
Yeah.
Then you get flat Earth and everything falls apart.
Yeah. Like, I don't know. Rhaegar Targaryen, Maverick Pilgrim said, "The Confessionals is such a great podcast. Tony is the real deal."
I appreciate that. You know, I get these well, my wife gets them, you know, and she tries to refrain from showing me to them, but sometimes I wander into the emails late at night when she's sleeping, and we get these emails of people who just seething angry for something, and they want to just tell me how much they hate me.
What?
Oh, it happens a lot.
Why?
It really happens a lot.
You're not even like involved in politics or anything.
Because people, I think people, they listen to these shows, and because I let people tell their story from their perspective, and I've had Satanists on the show.
Thank you.
Let's go. That's great. Woo! Third one.
Let's go! Let's go. Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Phil, for that beautiful, soulful performance. Thank you, guys.
But yeah, I just, it's refreshing to hear that. So thank you, because we do get a lot of healthy amount of people just hating, and sometimes you get
nice emails too.
Oh, you do, but like, so the sane, nice people tend to not really feel compelled to go out of their way to say, hey, I really like you a lot, just want to let you know. But the people who are angry at you, they're the ones that want to be outraged.
They're like, hey, by the way, I just want to let you know that I hate your guts.
Yeah, because you had so and so on your show.
Failure to humanity.
Yeah, and
They're
it's just like,
actually
man,
your biggest fans.
Well, yeah, so I started just saying, hey, I'll see you next week, okay? Because I had this one guy, he's like, he signed the email, and it's from his practice. He owns a practice, a law firm.
Oh.
And he's like, you know, long email telling me off, and I'm never listening to your show again. Literally a year later, we get another email from somebody saying something similar. I'm like, that sounds really similar. We archive all our emails. We don't delete them. And so I searched the name. Same guy said the same thing a year later. I'm never listening to your show again. I'm like, I'm never going to use you as law. Like I don't need you defending me in court. You know?
Yeah.
That's you know what that is, right? That's like he doesn't have enough work to do. The guy needs more clients.
Yeah. Stop listening to podcasts and find more clients.
Work, man.
High Voltage 75 said, due to current events, has the term hostage party become problematic?
Not till now.
If it is, we don't care.
It's only problematic if you make it problematic.
Yeah, getting your feels is problematic.
Crisis actors is problematic.
Yep.
Grofty said, Tales from the Inverted World is a great work. Loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Shane's great.
Yeah. Love
Derp
Shane.
Space 9 said, Friday the 13th, an object lesson in never trusting the crown or the tiara. You can loyally serve, but if you have something they want, they take it.
They do. The population takes. The other thing about Friday the 13th is, like, I never grew up super superstitious, right? But like when Friday the 13th falls on a day like today, this is another way in which the internet is causing problems, right? Like, it would have been a lot harder before to have an international day of jihad before the internet, right? So
like,
it's
one day it's National Coming Out Day, and the next day it's International Day of Jihad.
Wasn't it like International Donut Day recently, or International Throw a Short Person Day was recently, or I think it's Throw a Short Person Month. Or
International
something.
Kick a Ginger Day. Forget
See,
that one.
all of these violent and abusive holidays give way to more violent and abusive holidays. It's not good. Yeah.
Shane H. Wilder said, have a great weekend all. Make sure to avoid chupacabras.
Yeah. Chupacabra.
I'll make sure to avoid them.
Done any episodes on the chupacabra?
Maybe one or two a long time ago. You get people who email about the chupacabra, but in their email, the way they describe it, it's just like, or the best is like when they send a picture, and you're like, I really think that's just a mangy dog. Like, I think it was just a sick dog.
It's too easy to confuse it for like a coyote or something.
But the good ones are like when they say, like, you know, chupacabra story, and you're reading it, and all of a sudden it's like, and then it disappeared. I'm like, you're on the show. Let's go. I want to talk about this, you know? But yeah, it's one of those things where...
or somebody's going to say you're racist for not covering the chupacabra more.
I'm Puerto Rican. What are you going to do?
They don't care.
Come at me.
I don't know if that counts as POC anymore.
I know. Like I used to be an evangelist. I used to be like, well, I'm brown. And they're like, doesn't matter. You're still white supremacist. I'm like, okay. You know?
They're like, cover the chupacabra or else.
Yeah.
Matt Kelly said the purpling happens across Canada as well. Third crisis party. Let's go.
Let's go. Let's go. I mean, we could get a fourth one. If people were motivated, we could get a fourth.
I got nothing else to do today.
And
so
we are in a bit of a hostage crisis right now. So, you know, do with that what you will.
Yeah.
Quite Blackpilled said, got to start brainstorming for episode 500.
I'm not dyeing my hair another color. I know that. I don't even like the blonde has got to go soon. I'm slowly growing it out. It's almost long enough now to cut it back to like a regular length.
We set the wager for finding out your body count.
What was the 30
30 parties.
Yes, I will indeed share with everyone my body count if we get 30 crisis parties.
So stupid. Bang Bang Lulu said rollerblading is the devil.
That's very mean. That's very mean. I have heard it's how the devil gets inside you.
So with rollerblading, when I moved to a different town in high school, my freshman year was in a new high school, and I went from a town where it was all rollerbladers to skateboarders. And I was like, I guess I'm going to try skateboarding.
Where were you in before?
I went from Kutztown, Pennsylvania to Hamburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
At, like Kutztown University.
I spent a summer, a summer and then also a couple of extra weeks like in Philadelphia in 2008.
Yeah.
And then part of 2007 out there. Love that scene of dudes out there. Like I love the street skating out there it's really interesting because it's all cobblestone.
Yes.
So everybody who comes from that area is really, really good, especially when they travel, because they go someplace else where the ground isn't shitty. And they're like, holy shit, this is easy when I don't have to like feel like the ground is like literally trying to stop me.
Yeah.
All the
We've
time.
got a $20 from Tyler Hagenson. Happy Friday the 13th. I released an industrial metal album today under the name Nordgeist. If anyone is interested in that style of music, I'd rather support the show instead of paying certain companies for ads. Cheers.
What's the name?
Nordgeist.
Is that on YouTube? Can you find it on YouTube? I'd be interested to know if it could be found on YouTube. But people should go check that out.
Yeah.
Grofty said, "Where are you going?"
Well, we're
Nowhere for now.
There's something on here from Nordgeist Halloween Mix 2022. I don't know if this is the same Nordgeist.
No, not the same.
Not the same?
It's from today.
Well, there's like stuff here that says stuff from 4 days ago that was released.
okay.
It looks like. So I don't know if this is the same person. But guys, if you want, you should go check it out. I don't know if I'm gonna get copyrighted if I played any of this stuff. But if that
We
is
don't
the
want to
same,
steal your money, bro.
if that is the same Nordgeist, go check it out.
Jacob Edler said, balancing out the bad luck from my last super chat, he sent $9.87.
Ah,
Yeah,
perfect.
thank
Thank
you
you.
for that. Nathan Koss said Mary still needs to beclown herself at some point.
That is one of the better words that's come out of working here. Beclowned.
Did we set a wager for that?
I don't know. Did we? Was there one set for something like that? It's
I don't-
probably really high.
If I beclown myself, it's going to follow me on the internet for eternity.
Yeah.
So,
So it's got to be a high wager.
yeah.
Because then from then on, anytime you argue with someone on the internet, they're gonna be like, yeah, well, boom, and they're just gonna post that picture. You're a clown.
Okay, what about it? 75 crisis parties.
There you.
That's safe.
Perfect. Yes, I'm sure that's going to happen.
Shane H. Wilder said, Brett, you know you love the blonde hair.
Look,
He loves the attention he gets for it.
the upkeep is too much work.
Is it really?
Because like
You've gone to like 2 appointments.
that's too much work. It's more than that. It's like 4. Because I've had to get it.
But you were going to get haircuts anyway.
But it had to happen sooner
Okay,
because it was
whatever.
growing in weird. Let me complain. Just let me complain.
You don't know how hard it is to keep this.
That is true. I do not. It's not easy when you got long hair and it's blonde and you don't let the roots grow out.
The roots.
The
Is that
roots.
how you say roots?
Roots.
Midwesterner.
It depends on where you're coming
Milk.
DCNC said, what's the Colonel got tonight?
Yes, we will be doing a stream tonight. Me and Colonel Kurtz, assuming that that's what they're talking about here, that me and Colonel Kurtz will be live at 9 p.m. tonight on her channel. And also, guys, I will be live tomorrow on the Salty Nerd podcast at 1 p.m. right here on YouTube. I just got a chance to look at all the stuff we're going to be talking about. It's going to be a lot of fun, guys. So you should join us over there. I'll be posting about that on my on my Twitter, my Twix. /X/ all these things. I'll be posting about that, so I'll get you guys links tomorrow. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, all right, we are pretty close to a 4th crisis party. Now I actually want one. I was kind of kidding.
We can just sit here. That's fine.
We could just sit here. So how you doing?
Good.
We'll just sit here until people either file out or like what would happen first? Would people file out and slowly leave, or would enough come through to actually get there?
Gotta have faith in the audience.
Yeah. Now they're making fun of me. Grofty says roots. Ha 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 ha. He says, hey. I'm not doing that. Roots. Sorry. That's one of the hardest things about doing podcasts is like now I have to worry about how I say everything. Because I'm Minnesotan and I don't talk like that, but I worry that I'm being made fun of for the things I pronounce. It's like when I say niche and I say niche.
Yeah.
Niche.
I get people who will email me sometimes and they'll say, just to let you know, it's this word, not like that I say things wrong.
Yeah.
And my brother did it to me recently and I almost lost it on him because I was like, bro, you're in my camp. How could you do this to me? Because I walked in the studio and he's all serious. He's just looking at me, he's like, hey, I just want to let you know, I left it in, but I just want to let you know that you said nardly and it's gnarly. And I'm like, bro, I don't freaking care, bro. I say words all the time wrong. I don't care.
Like,
I have another question for you. If we still are just gonna.
oh
sit
yeah, I
here
want
and
to force
wait.
crisis.
Let's go.
So you're already investigating mysterious creatures, cryptids, that type of thing, astral projection. But do you get into more government related or more politicized conspiracy theories on the whole? Or
so I
stay away from that kind of thing?
I used to be
like, I'm talking MK Ultra, like that's entry level.
Yeah, so like I used to be much more willing to get into it on the show, and then J6 happened, and I kind of reeled back. I saw where things were going when the Nashville bomber happened on Christmas Day, and I told people, I said, they're going to start calling you conspiracy terrorists. And that's where it's kind of gone. You have to fear the conspiracy theorists, and that's kind of the movement it was going to. So I just kind of started taking a step back because I was trying to preserve my platform. But I do touch on things here and there. And recently, twice in the last 2 episodes I did are in those vein. I had a guy, not the Jon Stewart, a different Jon Stewart. He ran for governor of Illinois and Congress as well. And he's in the middle of debunking the debunking of a alien interrogation video that came out in the 90s, and it was debunked as a hoax. And he's been doing a lot of groundwork, like research on visiting people, knocking on doors, talking to generals and stuff about this video. And he has a pretty compelling argument that it's real. Now, the week before that, there's this guy, he's a citizen journalist, a very smart guy, Ashton Forbes, and he has pulled out these 2 videos that were on the internet since 2014, but just nobody touched it for whatever reason. And he's developed a team around him of like satellite experts and stuff, looking at these 2 videos that show supposedly the Malaysian missing flight that happened back in 2014. Supposedly there's a satellite image video of this and also a drone video of this, 2 different vantage points of this flight, and how these 3 UFOs came in around it, circulating around it. And then they started going faster and faster and faster until all of a sudden there was like what I'm just calling a zap, and it just like you just flash a light and the plane was gone, like it was teleported somewhere. And so like those are 2 episodes I just did recently, but typically I tend to stay away from things that are going to get knocks on the door from like FBI and stuff. And so
think that'll happen one day?
I hope not.
Hasn't happened
I hope
yet.
not. Like there's been, let's just say with these topics, the FBI has been called in the last 24 hours, and I didn't appreciate it. So, yeah, I was like, I'm trying to stay away from them.
I forgot to ask you about your take on the paper mache aliens that were displayed by the Mexican government.
Yeah, so that's exactly
Thoughts
right.
on that?
Look at those sandcastles, you know, like it's just, it was, you know, all right, so you know how I said people get grumpy about flat Earth, and I think my theory is that they're insulting your intelligence kind of thing by bringing it up. That's how I feel about that. I'm like, are you trying to insult our intelligence right now? You know, I think because they're like, well, look at the MRIs and there's things inside. I'm like, yeah, they can make this thing and place things inside of it. Until you cut it open, you really start showing the
innards,
the DNA and all that stuff. It just looks so fake to me, but at the end of the day, I think this whole alien disclosure thing is really generated. It's all about Project Bluebeam and those kind of things. Where I really think they're faking a lot of this stuff.
Be cool if on the inside it was actually like a piñata.
It looked like a piñata, right?
It's a Mexican piñata.
or a time capsule.
It was the first one.
Capsule you bury. Yeah, it was
the first one. It was the test one. They threw it out back because they're like, oh, this one doesn't work. Let's try again.
They're like, look, we got the quinceañera, and now we've got the That's great. That's fantastic.
We got a $20 one from Derp Space 9. Could you read that one?
Yep, it says, hold on, I want to put it up here because whenever I have to scroll, it doesn't work. If you're at BAT and Ken Griffey Jr. gives you tips on how to perform better, do you get mad? So it's odd when people are upset at spelling or pronunciation corrections. Self-improvement ain't for the gym.
Yeah.
Ain't just for the gym. Yeah, but the difference here is that you're not talking about mispronunciations based on your pronunciation being wrong. It's regional dialects a lot of the times that have something to do with that. That's actually something that comes up in skating a lot because different areas of the country have trick names that would be different from where they were. It was just called something different. So a lot of times the language, the lexicon isn't universal. So I'm afraid that I reject your super chat here. I reject the premise of
Keeping the money, rejecting the super chat.
Grammar Nazis.
Yes, well, yeah, you know what that is. You do that when you've lost the argument, and you're like, yeah, well, you spelled that wrong, like, bruh.
Olivia Claire said, Brett, you're a nerd. Mary, you're wonderful. Hi, Tony.
Hey.
That was mean, Olivia, and green olives are still good, and you're wrong. Just saying.
DC&C said, Tony, you ever seen a Bigfoot or whatever for reals?
Thank you.
The suspense is building.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome. This is wild. I love this show.
I should turn this into my ringtone on my phone.
You should. You absolutely should.
It's like a great way to It's a great way to advertise the show every time you're out in public. Like, hey, could you call me out there and just boom, and then the song starts playing, and then just answer like, yeah, sorry, I had a crisis party out while I'm out working.
I'm a famous podcaster, YouTuber.
Why is it going again?
Aliens.
Told you it was going to crash the stream. I told you there was going to be problems. I told
Y'all
you.
got a free one.
Y'all got a free one for nothing there.
Nephilim
bro.
portal babies, I'm telling you. That's what happens.
Okay, have you seen a Bigfoot or whatever for reals?
I can't say for reals, but I don't know why I'm playing with this money. Like, I just want to touch it, you know?
Yeah, that's what happens.
No, I think I saw something. I just don't know what it was. It was on Expedition Dogman. And I was basically getting ready to hang a webcam, or not a webcam, game trail camera from a tree, and I didn't have anybody with me, so I wanted to just scan behind me because we're out there hunting monsters. And I scanned from left to right, and as I'm coming back around to my right, there's a downed tree behind me, and it's one of those things where it happened so fast where I'm coming back to the tree and getting ready to do my thing, and I saw the corner of my eye something large, and it was gray, which is what stood out, walking up the hillside, but I only saw from like the shoulder heads up, and it was conical head, and when I snapped my head back to look, I didn't see it again. And I called the guys over, and my cameraman Ward had already gone home. It was at the end of the trip. Actually, I was taking the camera down, not up. And then Joel went over to investigate. When Joel went over to investigate, I don't see what I saw, but I couldn't see Joel either when he was walking up behind that tree. So whatever it was, and Joel's like 6'1", 6'2". So like whatever it was tall enough that I could see over the down tree. But that trip just had a lot of weird things that I wish I could have caught on camera, but it was just it was a weird trip. The Shape of Shadows we caught a lot on camera. Ritual circles, UFOs like crazy. We were chased by people on that film, and we don't know who it was, but it was like a car chase. It was wild. It was wild. So yeah.
Shimmy Shelley said, shout out to Biblical Angels.
Is that like a band?
It does sound like a band.
It's like a youth group band.
Maybe you mean
Biblical
like
Angels.
biblically accurate angels.
There you
like
go.
depicted
Yeah.
how they actually
Yeah.
look.
Product of like the coolest youth pastor ever helped them form the band.
Right.
Biblical Angels. Yeah. Those are my favorite. My favorite Babylon Bee memes that are not political are the ones that involve when they talk about like youth pastors or anything. All their church memes always make me chuckle because it makes me feel like they're actually able to like make jokes at themselves. I love that.
Yeah.
DC&C said, Bredio, why'd you end up with inline and not a skateboard? Let's hear a story about skate park turf wars.
Look, I grew up skating very rarely at skate parks. We skated street, we skated rails, we skated ledges, like skate parks. First of all, there weren't back then. I've literally been skating so long that those cheap free parks that you see in every city were not common back then. No. They were a lot harder to come by. And in general, you know, I had plenty of time getting kicked out and yelled at by security guards. Yeah. There was stuff that did happen at skate parks. It never like bothered me. In fact, like nowadays, I tell this story all the time. I go to skate parks now and everyone's so nice. And I'm like, I miss the old days. Like I miss showing up and everyone's like, fucking dick. Like fuck you. And I'm just like, you know.
And you have a skate off?
Yeah. Listen, like, it was different. Back then, but that was part of the culture. Is you grew up, you were not part of a mainstream activity, and it drew ire from other people. And there really was like kind of, it sounds ridiculously silly to say, but it really was like an us versus them mentality based on sports, which is very silly, but it's the way of the world.
Yeah, you're literally the reason why there are skate parks. When you were coming up skating and stuff, like that wasn't a thing. Skate parks like the way they are now, but
They wanted to stop you. That theoretically, they thought that by creating those skate parks, you would stop going and ruining everybody's personal property. Not realizing that, like, when people, because that's something they would say, right? We'd get kicked. I'd be skating a rail, and they'd be like, "You got to leave. There's a skate park down the road." I'm like, "I don't want to go to the skate park." Like, do they have this? Is this railing at the skate park? Because if it's not, I want
beautiful.
I want to do this railing. I don't want to skate your skate park. So I'm sorry. Like,
I'll take this railing and put it down at the skate park.
Okay. So I have a friend like who like a very famous rail in Boston got taken out as a famous kink rails down flat down, been around for decades. It got taken out, and like he took it and put it at his indoors, like his skate park at his house.
Really?
Like, after because they got rid of it and they threw it away. Great stuff like that. But yeah, like it was just, and I was one of those things where I was never one of those people that was like rude to security guards. Some of the people were. I mean, if they're rude to you first, that's one thing. But it's like whenever my friends would like get mad at cops for kicking us out, I'd be like, you know that technically they're right? Like we're not supposed to be here.
The man.
Like technically the man is right in this case. We're just, you know.
In my early 20s, I was a parking enforcement officer in Reading, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
My Lord. Do I have stories from that? Like, I was 21 years old, newlywed, and I'm going to Reading, Pennsylvania, and I have people spitting in my face over a $15 parking ticket, and I was like, this is new. And it was a wild experience.
Did you have to go around on a Segway?
They didn't
on
exist
a mountain
back then.
bike.
No, okay.
I rode a mountain bike all over the city, and it was wild. You ever see the TV show Parking Wars from Philly? In Philly,
No.
It was years ago. It was a show about what I did for a living.
Okay.
But on the show in Philly, it was like if you were a meter maid, that's all you did all day. And I was like, I did that and everything else. I booted cars, I towed cars, I went to court to fight the tickets when they're trying to fight us on the tickets. I did everything, and so you saw like every aspect of the job.
Wow.
I had guns pulled on me. It was wild.
That's crazy.
I'm like, I did it for a year, and I was like, I think I'm going to become a truck driver.
Over like $15 tickets,
or 75 if you're double parked, all that stuff. Like it was, and like I brought this up because like I was just doing my job, you know, and I would approach people real chill because I'm not trying to get in a fight. And the reason why I got into trucking is because I actually got into a fight with a guy, and it wasn't over parking. He was punching this woman in the face, like on the main strip in Reading, and everybody's watching. And I was like, I can't just.
Everyone's just like, hey, not my business, man. Like, literally, there's just some guy who's like, his wife turns him, she's like, maybe she deserved it. Like, that's crazy.
It was nuts, and I just said, I didn't even touch him. I just said, hey man, calm down. And she like turned around, walked away, yelling at him, and he turned around like he was gonna leave. And I was like, cool, everything's good, right? And then something clicked in his head. He turned around, and punched me in the face, and I lost my balance because I was standing on a bike, and I grabbed him and pulled him on top of me, and he's telling me that he's gonna kill me. And I'm like, so I wound up fighting the guy, and I wound up getting, I don't know how this happened, call it supernatural, right? I get him in a headlock with his arms locked up behind his back. And so I don't know what to do. Like I'm just holding him in my gut. And I'm like telling people, get him off me kind of thing. And nobody was helping until this guy that knew him came out of the pizza shop and was like, I got him and stuff. The guy walks away telling me he's going to kill me, takes his shirt off, runs off. This other guy comes over and he starts telling me that there was a car sitting on the curb right there with a gun pointed out the window at me. And I was like, that's when I was like, I think I interfered in something that wasn't like domestic. And I was so scared to do my job for the next month. I was like, I got to go and just be a truck driver.
Taking the shirt off is a bad sign too, because they're ready to fight if the shirt.
Well, I think
off.
He was ready to. Because technically assaulting me was like assaulting a police officer.
Yeah.
And I think he just wanted to take his shirt off and just go and just disappear. Yeah. But I was scared because I was one of 9 officers in the city. And I was like, at any point in time, this guy can come find me because I'm wearing a banana shirt every day.
To protect and serve the parking lot.
Like it was such a stupid job for $12.50 an hour.
I love the idea. Like you're like, yeah, I'm in law enforcement. I'm in the parking division.
I'm telling, I kid you not. I tried getting out of jury duty saying that. They're like, has any of you served in law enforcement? Like,
I have. I'm in the parking enforcement division of law enforcement.
Worked on 21 Jump Street.
Yep.
And I got out of jury duty, but I think it's because they thought I was so stupid. They're like, this guy is so dumb. We don't want him on the jury.
He's gonna screw everything up.
Yeah.
Like,
he doesn't even know what law enforcement is.
That's amazing.
John Stewart said, also not me, but I am originally from PA.
Nice.
Grofty said, what do you think of the, I think, 1997 UFO crash in Brazil?
I don't know about the 97 Brazil crash, but there was one not too long ago. It wasn't even, was it a crash? It became like Brazil's Area 51. It was a big cover up, just maybe it meant 2017, maybe, I don't remember, but there was some kind of UFO Brazil thing going on. It's always Brazil. But
Why do you think that is?
I don't know, but like I really don't. But the one I'm thinking of, there was actually U.S. military involvement in the supposed cover up of it. But there was like U.S. aircraft that was sent out in response to something that was mysterious in the skies. But I think the Brazil thing, wasn't it Brazil that was the miners that were saying that they saw these flying aliens? Was it Brazil?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was just recently. Yeah, but it is there. I don't know. It's always Brazil.
DC&C said was skating around the rink in the same direction for an hour. Aquarius staff member, he says with indignation, "We don't go clockwise on Sundays." Like it was the most obvious thing in the world.
Look, when because I started skating because I started by playing hockey. Like I was on ice skates before I could walk. It was just what you did. You're from Minnesota. You play hockey. It's what you do. And when you're in elementary school in like 7th grade and 6th and 7th grade, you go to the roller rink on Friday nights. Now that I think about it, it was always counterclockwise. It was never clockwise. I was thinking about it. I was like thinking back to those memories. I'm like, was it?
Counterclockwise.
It was counterclockwise.
Yeah.
Is roller skating rinks a thing still?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're still around. I'll show this. I'll show you the greatest commercial off air about roller skating to stay off drugs.
Yeah.
I'll show that to you off air, but let's keep going.
Okay, Courier 66.
Because we got the last time I showed that, we got copyright struck.
Really?
Yes. It's like an ad from like the 90s, and it still gets copyrighted.
Wow.
I think the music is copyrighted.
Interesting.
In the back.
Courier 626 said party time. Excellent.
Well, he says that for Crisis Party 4, but we are almost at a 5th crisis party, so this is a true hostage crisis we're in the middle of right now.
Wild.
Quite Blackpilled said, "Are you armed when you go out on these hunts?"
Yeah, 100%. In fact, we made it. We weren't even hiding guns in the first hunt, but I just recently did one solo with my brother and another guy locally, and ARs, all that. And this next one, my producer, I think, has talked us out of carrying ARs the whole time. I think he's worried about accidents happening, but he has agreed to let us keep one on the hip holstered. So, because I'm out there and listen, if I come across a monster, I gotta try. And I think I've heard enough stories.
What if the monster is being nice?
You got to prove it's real.
Sell it to a museum.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, so I've heard stories of people shooting at these things, like in the body and like the chest area, and nothing happening. And
so what are you gonna carry? Like the biggest 40? Like you're gonna carry
10
45?
millimeter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Holy
10
crap.
mil. So like that's what I'm gonna be carrying. And my theory is head or neck, and because I mean head obvious, but neck softness, but I've heard enough, man. Like
they've got the exoskeleton.
I think that there's some kind of bone structure that's extra thick that it's just like body armor.
I was just watching this YouTube short of this guy who had like a Desert Eagle chambered for shotgun rounds. Yeah, that's what you should carry.
I should just carry a 50 cal and just go with it.
I guess it wouldn't really work though, because if you miss the first one, you're not going to be able to cycle and then reload.
It'd be a problem. I do think that so in the first one we had ARs. I don't think an AR is actually the best option because of that. So it's flashy for camera, but yeah, we definitely carry for sure. But I carry all the time.
Shane H. Wilder said, "Mary, tell your people, i.e. ghosts, to stop playing with the crisis party sound."
Well, I would like a 5th crisis party just to see if it's still theoretically, if we get a 5th crisis party, which would actually be the 6th crisis party, because you got one for free, you could get a 7th one for free, because it may do that again. I don't know.
We're about setting records today.
Yep.
Derpspace9 said, "Poverty and shame to him that refuseth instruction, but he that yieldeth to reproof shall be glorified." Proverbs 13:8. Love you anyway, Brit old boyo. I guess that was directed at you.
Okay. Poverty and shame to him. Because I didn't want to take your instructions on how to pronounce things your way. I guess that's fine, but yeah, that's probably true. I could probably be better at taking. It's like when people tell me what to talk about. I'm like, no, I don't want to.
Don't tell me how to live my life.
Like exactly. Like I'll want to do it right up until the moment you tell me to do it, and then I'm like, no, I don't want to. You can't make me. Excuse me. I thought this was America. I could cover whatever I wanted to cover here.
Used to be.
Yeah.
High Voltage 75 said, "According to my calculations, episode 500 falls right after the Thanksgiving weekend. Don't eat too much turkey. We need you energized for the show."
My dad is just, I love my dad at holidays because he'll be like, as soon as he eats the turkey, he's like, tryptophan! And he says it really loudly. And like, he's just,
Everybody starts tripping over fans.
and he does this, and goes and sits down. I'm like, he's got to be like playing this up, right?
Yeah.
Like, I was like,
And
it's
this
like,
just knocks out.
I was like, we've eaten turkey at home before, not over Thanksgiving, and you didn't loudly shout tryptophan and then pass out on the couch.
It's the glutton holiday. I think everybody's falling asleep because you just stuff yourself so much.
No, not me. I'm a picky eater. I eat like a
Are you?
couple of pieces of chicken, mashed potatoes, and then the one thing that every picky eater loves at the holidays, and that's rolls.
Not pie?
Oh, pie, but that's not the same thing.
Mine's the favorite. My favorite is the canned cranberry sauce. Just love it. The cheap stuff. I think maybe it's because I just grew up super poor. I don't know, but I just love it. I'm just like, give me that.
I mean, I just don't like cranberry sauce of any
Really?
kind. Yeah. Like, I'm not saying that because it's canned. I'm saying it because it's cranberry sauce.
Like apparently there's other kind of cranberry sauce. I don't even know what that is.
Rich people get cranberry sauce.
You have to serve it still in the shape of the can, or else it's not authentic.
It doesn't count. I'll send it back.
Like cranberry sauce for the bourgeoisie, right?
It's like Michael
gross.
Scott from The Office and stuff. It's not canned. I send it back.
That's gross.
Joshua French said, ever look into the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah. Yeah, I've looked into a lot of
So
triangles.
somebody's saying real cranberry sauce only. What is real? Is just
I don't know.
made differently?
My
grew
mom
up-
made it fresh.
Yep.
I
Now
mean,
Disco Jensen says I want Dino Nuggies. See, you're never too rich or too poor for Dino Nuggies.
Dino Nuggies on Thanksgiving. Any thoughts on the Bermuda Triangle?
Yeah, I think that these triangle locations, it's not the only one. There's the Bridgewater Triangle up in the Massachusetts area, the Alaskan Triangle, Tennessee has a triangle.
Okay.
I think there's the thinning of the veil areas where, the way I describe it is, I think that these areas are portal locations where weird stuff happens because the veil between the physical and spiritual realm is a lot thinner and things happen. So
There you go.
Short answer.
Grofty said, maybe a Strange Tales themed 500th episode.
Oh,
It's not really our thing.
Yeah, well, what would we do for episode? You know, what we
Leave
could-
that to those who do it
would
best.
be someday nice to do an episode where it's just nothing but positive stories.
Ugh.
I know. Doesn't that sound boring?
Sounds
Aaron?
boring.
Who wants to do that? That's just disgusting.
You might tank your show on episode 500.
Yeah, like nobody watches. They're like, what the hell is this shit? I'm not watching this garbage.
We were trying to set records.
Like, no, thank you.
DCNC said, not using the metric system pop quiz. How many rods in a mile? What?
You know.
I don't know.
Rods isn't that like a form of measurement?
I do know that a jiffy is actually
What?
a unit of measurement. It's 1/1000th of a second.
Yeah?
Yeah, in a jiffy.
Really?
Yes.
Huh.
It's a unit of measurement.
No one really says in a jiffy anymore.
That's their loss.
You gotta be 35 and older, I guess.
Apparently so.
And I always thought it was Jippy. So speaking of saying it wrong.
Nope, say it wrong.
Jacob Edler said, shout out to the Hodag from Rhinelander,
Wisconsin?
What?
Hodag?
What is that?
Does that sound something you know?
I have no idea. I was hoping you knew.
That doesn't sound like anything I've
But
heard
shout out.
I guess look into that
Yeah.
for your next
Yeah.
episode. Grofty said canned cranberry sauce for the win.
Here it
Yeah.
is. It says, in American folklore, the hodag is a fearsome critter resembling a large bull-horned carnivore with a row of thick curved spines down its back. The hodag was said to be born from the ashes of cremated oxen, as the incarnation of the accumulation of abuse the animals had suffered at the hands of their masters. How has
That's
Hollywood not turned that into a movie?
That sounds like a woke cryptid.
Yes, it does.
It's like that was
I was
done
born
by
of
Gen Z.
oppression.
That had to be done by Gen Z.
Oh, whoa.
It was born in like the... Oh, I'm not saying that. Never mind.
Wait, what?
Nothing. Okay. Keep going.
Bang Bang Lulu said green olives and ham.
Yes.
I dig
Well,
it.
not the ham. Ham's just...
You don't like ham?
No,
Oh, yeah,
I'm
you're a
not,
picky
no.
eater.
But
See,
but green olives, yes, 30, 40, 50 at a time.
I'm like a human trash can. Like, you just put it in front of me, I'll eat it.
Yeah,
Like,
me
I just
too.
love it.
There's a
I love
$20
food.
one here from Derp Space 9 says, Lasai, 1 bag cranberries, half a cup of brown sugar, half an orange, a liberal pinch of dried Thai chili peppers. Boil the cranberries, add sugar, orange, zest, and pepper. Cool and allow to thicken. Kids these days. That was like the most judgmental super chat we've ever gotten. I applaud you.
You can
Derp.
even read the sarcasm
He even
and
said-
Is
attitude.
cranberry sauce even good enough to make fresh? Like, let's
Apparently.
be real. Nathan Koss said, spooky thing happened to me last night. Opened my Bible to a random page, and it was the book of Judith that tells the story of Israel under siege.
It's interesting because I just did the same thing last night, and it went to Ezekiel talking about.
Thank you. Sorry.
Is that 6?
That's 5.
5?
Technically 6.
What's the record for this show? What happened?
35?
35?
It's somewhere in the 30s.
Really?
I think it was like 34, almost 35.
Yeah. No, I thought it
Wow.
was 36, almost 37 or something. Like like during one of those like.
Do any of you remember?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
John Stewart said cranberries in a large pot with sugar, orange, and cinnamon sticks, boiled until it thickens like a jam naturally.
Maybe
Everyone
I've
has
just been
their
missing out.
recipes.
Maybe I've just
Love
been
it.
missing out all these years. Maybe I'm the bad guy.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the truth.
What
Maybe
you
I'm
guys
the
should do is take all these recipes and stuff and make your own cookbook, and then there you go.
PCC
It'll be called
cookbook.
PCC Stolen Recipes.
That almost sounds like a drug, something drug, you know?
PCP, well, PCP, yes. PCP Stolen Recipes is a whole different one. You get caught with that one, you might go to jail.
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
Very possible.
Depending on what state it is.
DCNC said resetting the daily counter to bother the chat. Taylor Swift.
We didn't
She
say it.
who shall
You
not
said
be
it. But if you
named.
want, we can talk about Taylor Swift. I'm fine with that. Like, they
you
get
think of
so
Taylor
mad.
Swift?
They get
Well,
get
she's
mad.
from Why I'm Missing, Pennsylvania. That's where she grew
yeah,
up,
she
right outside
is.
Reading. Yeah, and I used to
You
think
said
that
you
was.
gave her a ticket someday. You were like, you were
Yeah.
driving, you were riding your bike around, and you're like, no.
Here you go, kid.
Yeah.
Take this for one.
Yeah. It's like,
But,
and don't leave your guitar in the back seat. It's gonna get stolen.
yeah, no, I think she's a tool. I think she's a tool. Yeah.
A
I used
tool
to,
as in like the insult tool, or a tool for
both.
the powers that
both.
be? Okay.
Yeah, I don't like her.
Bent on global domination.
I used to think it was cool because, this was years ago, but I was like, man, this kid, from this area, that's cool and stuff. But what I've seen, what she's done with her life disgusts me. Always covering her one eye, putting the triangles and stuff. Disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know about that stuff? Do you know about that stuff?
Oh yeah, I
yeah.
do.
So, yeah, she's
So she's demonic.
well,
All
she's
celebrities are in the
like,
Illuminati.
yeah, well, I mean, I don't think it's Illuminati. I think it's just a sign of compliance. But I mean,
Yeah.
it's like when you start seeing the celebrities doing it and stuff, it's just like, man, it's deflating, especially when you liked them. Like LeBron James and stuff.
They've
So,
all done it at some point or
yeah.
another.
Well, I do it with my own show. So like, and I didn't even know I was doing it at first. But my original logo was clip art from Google because I didn't think my show would last. So I found this image of this gray face doing the shush mark. And I was like, oh, that looks cool. So we put a circle around it, called it the Confessionals. Boom. And then the show started taking off. So I was like, let me make a logo similar to that. So it was my own face doing this, and the artist blacked out half my face. So it was one eye. And they're like, why are you doing the shush mark? Why are you covering your eye? Why is it black and white? I'm like, I thought it looked cool,
Sometimes that's what it is. Sometimes you're like, look, I wasn't actually part of a demonic culture. I just thought it looked cool.
Yeah, but maybe that's why I'm successful, because I gave my allegiance over accidentally.
You sold your soul without even
Maybe,
realizing.
I guess. I don't think you can sell your soul, but anyways.
High Voltage 75 said never liked cranberry sauce, but passed some mashed taters and gravy to me all day.
Gosh, I'm so hungry.
I'm so hungry.
But that's not a sign to end this. I love this. I could talk forever. I actually want to get the record. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Oh, that would be a
That's
long
unlikely.
show. That would be a long
Come on,
show.
guys. Pick
We'd
it
be here
up.
until tomorrow. Griffin Street Studios said, I'm not religious, although raised Baptist, but I've met evil spirits and benevolent protectors. The truth is out there.
Truth is out there.
The X-Files told me so.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Bang Bang Lulu said PCC's PCP recipe. LOL.
Oh,
Look, check my Pinterest later.
does anybody use Pinterest anymore?
I have.
I do.
Do you?
Girls use Pinterest.
Girls use it.
We just made an executive decision to stop trying with Pinterest because we felt like it just wasn't
I'm
going
surprised
anywhere.
that you were in the first
Yeah.
place.
Oh, see, I was right then. So like, because I was like,
Were you trying to use Tumblr as well?
we were just taking like the art that we make and just put it on Pinterest, and it was like, it's not doing anything. There's no point in this.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's for girls to share like Christian Girl Autumn.
Okay, so not paranormal pictures and stuff. It's not really the thing.
Not really.
Okay, cool.
Serengo Productions said Taylor Swift equals Antichrist? Question mark, question mark,
Ooh,
question
She is
jeez.
kind of like
I don't think so,
universally
but
loved.
mark. No, she's
Maybe-
not. There are plenty of people that hate her.
I think Elon's closer to Antichrist than Taylor Swift is.
No, because lots of people hate Elon.
Lots of
Lots
people hate him,
people
yeah.
Elon. The Antichrist would be
He's not-
universally loved.
That's true.
So wait, so by that logic,
he's gonna flip the
Keanu Reeves
script.
is the Antichrist. Because
Right?
everybody loves Keanu Reeves. So you
Hey,
either love Keanu Reeves or you have no solid feelings about him. But nobody hates Keanu Reeves.
I feel like the Antichrist is going to be polarizing enough that everyone is going to feel something strongly about him.
Oh, I thought the
So.
idea was that they were universally loved, and that's what made them.
Well,
Almost,
they're gonna bring,
almost universal.
Yeah, they're going to
Keanu.
usher in world
Keanu.
peace.
Yeah. High Voltage 75 said apparently Taylor Swift was at the Chiefs game yesterday, but wasn't there for the Vikings game last week. Taylor hates Minnesota, confirmed.
I know. It's BS.
She didn't move her tour dates for you.
They lost I mean, the Vikings lost as they always do these days,
Yeah.
but that's to be expected.
Shane H. Wilder said, I'm going to have to bounce for my rosary time. Peace out. See y'all Monday. Except Brett. I'll see you with Kurtz tonight.
Thank you, and make sure to check out Salty Nerd Podcast tomorrow at 1 p.m. Thank you.
1 p.m.
All right, that's all the super chats for
We got
now.
one
at
here
least,
from
I
Quite
think.
Black Pill. It says, you got to admit, evil shit does look cool. Black metal, horns, spikes, etc.
There you go.
Yeah.
Listen to, that's fairly accurate.
Yeah.
That's all right. All right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video? Would you subscribe to this channel if you have not done so already? Please and thank you so much for that. Hit the notification bell, share this video with your friends so that more people can come in here and hang out with us. Tony, my friend, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Let everyone know where they can find you. I got all your links in the description, but
Okay.
let everyone know where they can find you.
Yeah, the Confessionals podcast is the main gig. We interview people on their paranormal experiences, and it's a wild one. We just dropped episode 590. We do 2 a week, so lots of their
How long has it been
content
going
there. Since January 19th, 2017. It's the first episode.
Wow. That's a lot. You've been going for a while.
Yeah, a long time. But so that's the Confessionals podcast, and then there's the umbrella company merkel.media. We have other podcasts on there like Hammer Lane Legends is a trucker podcast, Macroaggressions with Charlie Robinson. More, he takes like a real world look at, or he takes a look at what's happening in the world and just gives a very libertarian. He's hosting Anarcho-Poco next year, if that means anything. So like he's really like a libertarian to the max. Let's just say it that way.
Let's go.
So, and then also we have the films as well. So Expedition Dogman and Shape of Shadows.
I got all the links in the description, guys, so make sure you check
Yeah.
them out there. We got a $50 one here from Trudy Jones. Says, not so fast.
Ah.
So they did just get the 6th Crisis Party. We've got more of them coming in here. Mary, can you
Another
see
one
these?
from DCNC. Who would run the more entertaining modern social media account, Jefferson or Hamilton?
Thoughts? I'm not a history buff, so I have
I'm
no
not
idea.
either.
I have no idea.
What
Just-
do you think? Do you
It
have
would
an
be
opinion
funnier.
on this?
Here's a
not.
better question. How much funnier would history be if Donald Trump got sent back to that era?
Oh my gosh.
That would, like, imagine.
Well, there's just-
imagine, like, you know how he makes those tweets that are they're like they're truths, and then they get posted elsewhere, and they're always done in the fashion of like he does
Yeah.
those press releases. Imagine those, but he actually has them sent through the mail to people. And he's like, Iran, $6 billion, but it's like billion, and it's spelled really long, so that he can send it to people through snail mail. That would be better.
Do you
That would
ever
be
hear the Trump conspiracy theory of him traveling back in time?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, that's a great. The pictures are
it's
pretty.
fun.
The
compelling.
evidence
Yeah.
is compelling.
It is
Pictures are
compelling and
compelling.
fun.
There's
Dylan-
another $50 one here from DCNC. Says hostage time. We are now officially in a real hostage crisis. Mary, we are back up here
Okay.
at
Yeah.
Dylan Furyk.
Furyk, he said Minnesota.
Oh, at least he didn't spell it with like a D to really make fun of that. Thank you.
There it
Thank
is.
you.
Thank you guys.
Is this the 6th one?
That was the 6th.
Okay.
Wow.
Yes.
Can we get to 7?
I don't know. I mean, we're like halfway to 7. I don't know if we're going to be able to get that. We got 2 outros to do here. So we got Courier
Okay.
626.
Wait,
Or no, we got John Stewart says hostage party.
what?
Courier 626. Is it showing up there?
It puts the lotion on the skin or else it gets the party again.
I'm gonna
What is that?
stop. Okay, I'm gonna have to
telling
go and
you.
watch
I'm
Silence
sorry.
of the Lambs.
We were talking about possessing.
We've had malfunctions with it before.
Yes.
It's not just today.
If you don't know the song, first of all, that's a Silence of the Lambs reference. But go listen to the song "Lotion" by Greenskeepers. Just do that in reference to that previous super chat. DCNC says hostage time. Seth Essington says, time to take the show hostage, gang. Well, they're in the middle of that right now. Derp Space 9 says, they're ready to leave. Hostage starts now. Grofty
They
says...
wait till they can see your
Yeah.
eyes start to fade.
Yes. Grofty says, really enjoy your guests. A hostage party. So it's really, really good.
Awesome.
All right, Mary,
Are we up
where
to date
can they
now?
find
okay.
you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at Mary Archived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived. Grofty said, really enjoy your guests hostage party.
Perfect.
Was that the last one?
That was the last
All right,
of them,
okay.
guys. Well, now we got one more from Derp Space 9. It says, "Goodbye, horses." It's a song. And another one from High Voltage 75. He says, "Fact: there's only been 3 unplanned episodes in PC. Wait, there's only been 3 unplanned episodes in PCC history go over 3 hours. Last one being episode 291. Will this be number 4?"
Well, we're there. We're in like 60 seconds. So.
Yeah, like in.
We've been going that long?
Yeah.
Perturbed
Wow.
Alpaca says, "What is
awesome.
everyone's spookiest encounters? Paranormal only." Well, I said mine. That was my spookiest encounter as far as what's happened to me. I don't have any other.
I've had spooky encounters that I'm not going to share.
So you want me to hear
Yeah.
the story?
Yeah. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so I told you about the dog man thing in my house, right?
Yeah.
In Pennsylvania. So I have a brand new house in Pennsylvania or Tennessee now. We built it last year, and something really weird happened just like 2 weeks ago in my house. And I wasn't in the house to experience this, but my wife was going and put my daughter, I was gonna say my sister, putting my daughter down for a nap, and she was laying with her, and she has her back towards the door, and she hears, "Mommy." And so she thinks my son Ben came in to ask her something, and she rolls over and she doesn't hear, or she doesn't see anything. The door is closed. So she rolls over and just lays with Gemma for the rest of the nap. Nothing happened. She comes out of the bedroom, and my son, this is afternoon time, my son comes running over to my wife, and he's like, "Mommy, when you were in there, something really scary happened." And she's like, "What?" And he said that he was sitting in the living room facing the TV, and the TV is on the same wall of a hallway where my daughter's room is, so in that direction. Mm-hmm. And he said, when you were putting Gemma down for a nap, I heard somebody go, "Penny," from the hallway where Gemma's room was. So at the same time, theoretically, around that same time, my son heard somebody whisper his name, and my wife heard somebody whisper "Mommy" in my daughter's room. And I don't know what to make of that. I have no idea.
Weird.
It's weird.
I don't have like a ton of like maybe it's because I'm just not like, is it kind of like one of those things where you got to be a believer, like at least a little bit more of a believer for these things to really take hold?
I don't know.
Maybe I just don't.
I might attract things because of what I do and stuff. That's
possible.
Why, I'm very like after that I went and prayed up over my house again and stuff. Like I do a lot of like that kind of stuff to protect myself. An interesting thing is in the studio we've had weird things happen as well at the office. When Jack moved to Tennessee to work for me, I was going to the studio late at night one night. It was like 10 o'clock at night. And he texted me on the way and he said, "When are you coming in?" And I said, "I'm on my way. I need to talk to you when you get here." So I get in there. I said, "What's wrong?" Because I could tell something was wrong. And he said that he heard the doorknob to the hallway behind the studio start jiggling. He gets up, walks out into the hallway, and he literally can see the doorknob jiggling. He's standing there, and he said it happened for like 30 seconds, and nobody's in the building at night. And I told him, I said, I actually had the same experience when I was in the studio about a couple months before that, but I didn't see it jiggling. I just heard it real hard, and all the hair stood on the back of my neck, not my head, obviously. and I just go, "Who's there?" And I just stand there and I just stare. I'm like, everything's like all my hair standing up, and I would go to reach for my gun because I'm thinking somebody's in there, and I realized I forgot my gun at home, and I was like, "No!" It's like, no, what's the point of being in Tennessee? You know? So, but yeah, those are some of my scary stories recently, I guess.
They're saying I missed Seth Essington's before. I did not miss Seth Essington's before, ladies and gentlemen. Time to take the show hostage, gang. I read it. I read it before, but he does another one down here.
We've got more here. Derp Space 9 said, "Try auctioneer speed, kiddos."
We're almost there.
DCNC said, "Is it 3 hours?" It has been over 3 hours now.
Yep.
$2 from Seth Essington.
Thank you,
Got a
Seth.
message. Thank you. Bang Bang Lulu said, "Hostage party means crisis actors are employed too."
And yes, well, because like we said earlier, having a job is important.
Yes,
it
absolutely. Employment.
Sir Ranko Productions said, "But it did only start glitching out when known ghost sympathizer Shane Cashman was on." Yeah, we had some technical difficulties.
That is very
with him.
true. That is very true.
Known ghost sympathizer. That's
Ghost
great.
Dylan Feerick said, "Land of tiny soft drinks." What?
Pop. I don't know. Pop.
Is it pop or soda?
9.
Look, I grew up and I always said pop.
Really?
But I got
Okay.
away from it in later years. Or it's just one of the, it's like pronouns. I just don't say the word enough for it to matter. But since being out here, I say soda.
Yeah, like Western Pennsylvania is pop, like around Pittsburgh, Eastern, soda.
Yeah. Crazy. See? Different pronunciation or different words
Yeah.
used depending on the region you come from.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
Derp.
Wait, what is this about Seth was robbed?
I read it. So
Okay.
they're saying Seth was robbed.
What,
This
justice
aggression
for
will not stand.
Seth from DCNC. Derp Space 9 said Mr. Treehorn treats objects like women.
Yes.
Courier 626 said gonna get to 30. What's your body count?
We are not getting to 30
Not
today,
today.
ladies. We could get to we could theoretically get to 7 here, ladies
We're
and
close
gentlemen.
to 7.
We are pretty close. Forget to read one, so they have justice for somebody else that they have to call in.
Derp Space 9 said Friday, aka where your Depends Day.
What?
Like we're gonna be on this show for so long.
Oh yeah,
Wear
like
adult
yeah,
diapers.
basically.
Disco Jensen sent $10 without a message.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rebecca Matthews says Brett nailed the quote from Wayne's World and stole my heart. 87 babies crew. Sorry, it's such a delayed comment. I'm at work and had to pause a couple of times. Yes, everyone, this weekend, go watch Wayne's World. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah.
It's a masterpiece. Thank you, Rebecca.
75 said we did it. Can go for the all-time record of 3 hours and 15 minutes. Is that the all-time
No,
record?
because we did a 5-hour episode.
Well, no, excluding that one because that was planned. But I thought that we went until like 6:30 p.m. one day.
Possible. It's possible.
So 3 hours 15 minutes sounds too short.
What was the planned episode? 5 hours for a special
For 400.
For episode
for 400.
Yeah.
Okay.
Weird that we didn't do it for 4 hours on episode 400, but maybe we're just
make
not
it
great
an hour
marketers.
longer each.
Didn't think ahead on that one, did
Didn't
you?
think ahead on that one. Derp Space.
Derp Space 9 said the recipe book idea is gold. Do youngins cook?
They don't. I mean, they're saying now that more than ever, like, kids are not cooking. I don't cook ever.
I mean, you don't want me cooking. My wife cooks really well, but she won't let me touch it. Not at all. I mean, I can make killer
She's like,
microwave
you
mac
like
and
canned
cheese.
cranberry
Yeah,
sauce. You're
like-
not allowed anywhere near the kitchen.
When we got married, I was like, yeah, I can cook. You know, we want some chicken tonight? Sure. And I broiled the chicken, and it was like leather. And she's like, what is this?
Thank you.
Oh, 7!
Crisis parties. I never thought we'd make it.
We did it! Thank you, Ian. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, chat.
John Stewart said, I'm Southwest PA, can confirm pop.
Yep.
I have no problem with pop. Doesn't bother me.
Dylan Furyk said, Minnesota, the land of tiny pops.
I guess. And one more from Derp
Derp
Space.
Space 9 said, why you want to break my heart, Brett?
Look, I don't. Just because we have different opinions on language and speech does not make us enemies, my friend. We're good. DCNC says mini soda. Minnesota.
I dig
Okay.
It's freaking genius. Guys,
it. That's great.
one more here from Derp Space 9 says honey baked bocus, sriracha, and lime Roberto Jr. No! Never!
We're not going to cook the pets.
Bocus is going to live forever. He'll never die.
What do you guys do with the chickens when they pass?
I don't know what they did with that. I don't know.
I heard that
I
you
didn't eat them.
can feed chickens to chickens. So
Yeah. I can tell you stories. Me and my brother put down a chicken not too long ago, and before we got a chance to pick it up, the other chickens came running to start eating it.
Oh.
yeah, if a chicken is wounded, the other ones will kill it and eat it.
Yeah. Pigs are a great
They
option
smell
too,
the
though.
weakness.
All right, we got one more here from the Manic Mustache. Says, holy moly, y'all are still here. Hashtag hostage party. Hashtag under promise over dealing. Yeah, well, that is always under.
That's our business model.
That's literally, it's
great.
like, if I never, I kind of like, I'm always designed to like, I want to just like set the bar low.
Sure.
Just really low.
That way you can feel good at night when you go to bed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Always,
It's like,
like,
I
look,
fulfilled and overpromised. Like it's just
I'm
great.
always hoping to
Yeah.
just to undersell so that way it always does
perfect.
better.
Yeah.
One more from Derp Space 9 says, was a reference to Tia Carrera's song in Wayne's World. What part of it was? If we're talking about her crucial taunt song, yes, I'd have to hear it sung to know. Derp Space 9 says, you must not want to leave. I would never want to leave, guys. I want to be here forever.
In order to end
With
the
that,
show, we need to want to stay.
exactly. Yeah, gosh, guys, now I want to stay forever, guys. I want to be here forever because I just want to hang out with you guys. That's what I want to do. All right, guys. Thank you for watching again today. Okay. But Bang Bang Lulu says it's a chicken eat chicken world out there. Yes, it is. It very much is. Guys, again, thank you for watching today. If you'd like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. Again, please be sure to check out my appearance tonight with Colonel Kurtz at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the Salty Nerd Podcast right here on YouTube. You guys should come out tomorrow and send these super chats again to them so that they know that they should have me back on in the future. We got a couple more there, Mary.
DCNC said not eating dogs and cats. Pretty racist, guys. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not eating dogs or cats.
Would you try it?
No.
Really?
No.
I would try it.
No.
I would try it.
I would not.
I love those animals, but I would definitely try it.
There's two more there, Mary.
High Voltage 75 said episode 214, 3 hours, 14 minutes, 55 seconds. Shane and Andy guessed it. Couldn't find one longer than that.
The fact that they know more than I just don't know.
Isn't that
How do you
great?
know that?
Isn't that great,
Do
though?
we need to have a PCC trivia night?
I would fail. I would lose.
I would also fail.
Like what people don't realize is like when you do stuff like this, they're like, you said this on the show. I'm like, bro, I don't remember.
You don't remember.
I don't remember
But
shit.
It speaks to the fandom and the love that they have for you,
Yeah.
that they are able to recall things like that.
Like,
it's really cool.
They're like, yeah, you said that. I'm like, sounds like me.
Yeah,
Unless
definitely
it
sounds
sounds
like me,
smart,
right.
then I'm like, doesn't sound like me at all, bro.
Space 9
yep.
said that's too clingy Brit. Now I'm done.
Oh, well, that's, come on. I was just kidding. Come back. Come
Courier
back.
626 said no breaks.
All right, we are done with.
Okay, another.
Derp Space 9 says, I lied. Like Cap said, I can do this all day long. Yes, Captain America did say that.
It's got deep pockets.
Yep. All right, guys. 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, noon Pacific, Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify if you would like to listen to this podcast. If you would like to watch Pop Culture Crisis on social media or follow us on social media, first we have $1.12 from Dylan. Thank you, Dylan. But if you want to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook and TikTok at Pop Culture Crisis, Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis pod.
Instagram is Pop Culture Crisis Pod.
Got that one right. One more from the Manic Mustache says, ate horse in Japan back in 99.
Sounds like he wouldn't trade it for the world.
Wouldn't trade it for both. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining us today. We will be back with another episode on Monday. We will see you then,
You
guys.
sure you don't want to stay until the 8th one?
Oh, well, we're like halfway there. I don't think that that's going to happen. Now, Derp Space says, get your pee. I don't think it's
Okay.
going to
Should I empty this
DCNC.
bottle out?
We got one more from DC&C says, what are the stakes for the next party time? Like, there are no
Like
stakes for the next...
$50, you mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
it's
and High Voltage 75 said, speaking of Shane, when's he coming back to PCC? You'll have to ask him that.
You'd have to ask him. He's a busy guy these days.
Seth Essington said, goodbye, PCC gang.
And then
Dylan Furyk said, read this.
Okay,
Here we go, I read it.
we're halfway. Like, if we were
wild.
closer to the 4th crisis part or to the 8th crisis party, I'd stay. But guys, we will be back with another episode on Monday. We will see you then, guys. Later.
Bye.
Peace.
100 Watt Studio says Dangerous Dave demands a return. No cover-ups. Bye, guys.